is just starting.
No. 3, 2, 1. Guys, are you ready?
Why are we making those noises, man?
Because it's UMINEKO Day. It's UMINEKO Day.
It's UMIFrico bonus specifically.
True. So we gotta be extra freaky.
I'm so excited.
And I have heard you moan like way better than what me and Brie were doing. I've heard worse from you, so don't even.
That's funny. That's true.
True, your girl moan is kind of.
It's really good.
It's really
good.
So funny. It's one of my
really
favorite
good.
things to troll with.
No,
dude, because like, I'll be like hanging out with friends or whatever. Chat. With the fellas, sometimes it just gets a little gay.
Huh?
And they'll say they're about to do something. And I'll be okay.
Sorry, just had to throw up everywhere.
So funny. I don't see it. Where is it?
No, with my other IRL friends, I've just started doing the daddy chill.
Daddy chill. Oh, fire. Well, are you guys freaking ready?
Yeah,
I've been freaking ready.
Weather has started to cool down. I have cough drops so that I can preserve my voice.
Yes.
The lemon ones.
Ooh, the lemon.
Wait, holy shit, guys! I've just leveled up. I can have the chat and the stream on one monitor by doing the pop-out window on Discord and dragging it over where the stream is on Twitch.
Holy fuck! This is so
insane.
crazy. That's crazy.
I have 2 monitors because I have the one I stole from school.
Yay!
Yeah, I mean, I got 2 monitors too, but I like having other shit on my other monitor so I can. Sorry, I know I'm not very. I'm not very.
That's not very UMIFrico of you.
Okay, man.
He's playing Balloons Tower Defense.
I'm actually not. I'm doing nothing. That's why I'm tired.
Well.
Start that shit!
Oh, okay, fine. Shots.
It's my turn.
Yes, fuck it up.
The wind grew increasingly strong, and the rain turned into cold, large drops. Hold on, I have to adjust my thing.
Adjusting? Wait, why is there no sound?
I hear it.
No, on the stream. Oh, there it is. Okay. Sorry, I had to redo the audio capture.
Jesus.
There was no way even Maria would fail to notice this. Hold on, I realized what side of my desk I'm sitting on. I need to switch which monitor has what. Okay, there we go. However, if she couldn't find her rose here, it would surely disappear forever. Maria believed that. That feeling spurred her on to keep searching for a rose that she had no chance of finding. Just then, cold drops of rain tormenting Maria were suddenly blocked. Maria raised her head. When she did, she saw an umbrella there, protecting her from the rain.
Guys, I wonder who it is.
And the one holding the umbrella was
Wub.
the witch she admired, Beatrice.
Beatrice!
That's what I said.
What are you doing so frantically in the middle of all this rain? You could catch a cold like this. Even witches have to take care for their own health. I can't find my rose. No matter how many times I search, even though it should have been here, I can't find it.
Maria told Beatrice about how there had been a slightly unhealthy, pitiful rose, and that she was sure they had marked it.
Oh, so you can't find it. If you are a witch's apprentice, you should use magic to search for the rose. I believe that searching with just your eyes won't be nearly enough. Can't find it. I did my best and tried to search with magic, but I can't find it. I think practicing your magic is a very good thing, but it might be a little too much for you with all this wind and rain. Allow me to lend you some special power. Concern for one's disciples is also one of a teacher's duties.
So Maria's a warlock.
Thank you, Beatrice!
Maria's face, which had been full of sadness until now, split open into a grin. I don't like the phrasing of that.
Yeah.
Maria knew. She knew there was nothing Beatrice's magic couldn't do. So she was sure that Beatrice would be able to find the rose easily, even though Maria couldn't. Beatrice closed her eyes lightly, acting as though she was listening for something in all this wind and rain. Then she heard it, opened her eyes and spoke.
All things in this world are transitory. Too bad, Maria. It seems your rose couldn't withstand all this wind and rain. Then my rose? It was uprooted by the wind, and is no longer of this world.
What Beatrice had said was quite reasonable. There was nothing odd about the flower being broken off at the stem in this strong wind. However, Maria couldn't accept this and bitterly gave a low-pitched moan.
Ugh. Ugh.
No. Ho.
Is this how friendship ends with Beatrice?
No, it's my rose! My rose won't come back, no! I'll bring it back to life with my magic! Beatrice, teach me how to revive a rose with magic! Ha! It's much too early for an apprentice like you to learn the hidden art of endless magic. Know your place.
She does the fucking.
Immediate. Maria wiped the tears from her eyes, full of regret.
Oh my god, hi, Dome! You made it, bro.
Beatrice shrugged.
Oh, Beatrice. Let
Let me have a sip.
I know we're early birding UMINEKO today. Double feature, baby.
Hold on, let me text my mother and let her know it's streaming.
True.
So
Yeah!
immediately walk in and be like, where the
Mom,
fuck is that?
fuck up and leave me alone. I'm reading Peak.
Yeah, we're all cosplaying. It's Halloween. I'm Maria. Lenny has Cannon's beret, and then Shane a gore. Shane a gore.
Yeah, I'm Vacation George.
Vacation
I
George.
gotta say, he's put on glasses and a different shirt, a different color shirt, the same shirt, but baby shit green.
Yeah.
But George's baby shit.
George.
TM.
Shane Jorge.
I'm just saying that I think he deserved the suit. That's all.
Mi nombre es Jorge.
Nom 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 nom.
I'm glad my mom knows that the dog is with me. He's on bed behind me judging.
Chuck!
He's a good boy.
I love Chuck.
Beatrice shrugged her shoulders and chuckled at Maria's pitiable expression. Pitiable.
Very well. I will lend you my power, the hidden art that can revive a rose. Really? Indeed. Well then, concentrate the power of your heart. Close your eyes, forget the rain, forget the wind, and search for the soul of the wandering rose with the eyes of your heart.
Beatrice listens to too much ABBA. Maria closed her eyes. Then she repeated Beatrice's song-like words.
Come, try to remember. Rose, what form did you have? Come, try to remember. Rose, what form did you have? Don't look, don't listen, and believe. Release the power of your soul from the cage of flesh that imprisons it. That's
Pretty
it.
sure they told me that
Good.
once at church.
Believe!
Around Maria, who was concentrating her power, her eyes tightly shut, small golden butterflies began to dance. Was this the manifestation of the magical power Maria held?
Lost soul of the rose, gather into one, and remember your form. Come, gather, remember.
The glitter of the gold butterflies began to strengthen, and their numbers increased. Then Beatrice raised a finger up to the skies, and they began to gather at the tip of that finger. This was the miracle of the golden magic. The gold butterflies began to condense into a single dazzling grain of gold. It was a single glittering gold seed. It rode on the tip of Beatrice's finger, budded into a golden sprout, and opened into a golden leaf. It then slowly fell from that fingertip, sank into the mud of the flower bed, and began to grow steadily. Maria, who admired magic and the witch, really wanted to see this fantastical sight. However, as an apprentice, Maria was still not qualified to see it. No, she was probably afraid that if she opened her eyes to look, the power she had that she had concentrated in her heart would be cut off, and the magic would be lost. Therefore, Beatrice, as the only one permitted to witness this golden miracle, was the only witch, the sole master of any miracles. Then, the fully grown rose bloomed, creating one golden flower. And when Beatrice poked it with her finger in just the right way, the gold color sparkled and scattered, just as if a golden soap bubble had popped, and what remained was a single beautiful rose.
I love magic! It looks like you've remembered a splendid rose. However, if we just leave it mixed in with these other roses, you won't be able to tell it apart. Shall I perform one last service?
Beatrice, for the sake of her cute apprentice, who was moaning even more now in concentration, decided to use one more bit of magic. When she snapped her fingers, a single gold butterfly appeared, fluttered around, and landed on the flower that had just been revived. It suddenly burst open and disappeared, becoming golden lace and marking the rose.
That will do. Maria, you may open your eyes now. Where's the rose? It's not here. Not here. Not over here. Not over there. Over here. Look. I've marked it with golden lace. You did! Awesome, 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 awesome! Thank you, Beato! Thank you, Beato! I want to become a witch quickly! A great witch like you! And you can. Long ago, I too wished for that innocently, just as you do, and I have attained that level.
Maria was ecstatic. Maria was ecstatic.
True. I have a problem with that word
Over
too.
the revived rose. There's so many tongue twisters. The
Yeah.
revived rose.
Revived rose. Aesthetic. Aesthetic.
Clapping her hands and jumping around in joy. Watching that, Beatrice also smiled, looking fairly pleased.
By now.
Went to
What?
good.
Oh, I think
Okay.
we got a what is it? Animated emote redeem for the channel points. Or
What?
whatever it's called.
No, Jamie is just being very nice, and it's a big community challenge.
How does this work?
So I forget where you go to, but I think you go to like the point area, and then you could donate the cloudy points you get by watching the streams.
Oh, I get
And
it.
then-
Dude, hold up. How do I give
yeah.
everything?
Yeah, but that's
Yeah.
how we unlock animated emotes as a community, and then everybody gets to
Can
choose.
I do it again?
So
Oh, I can only contribute a certain amount per stream? This is lame. I should be able to give everything.
Wait, yeah. How do I give my whole?
You just go to wherever the cloudy point redeem area is, and then it should be there.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah, but do you just redeem them, or how do you? Oh, you could just do max. Oh, okay, there it is.
Yeah.
Woohoo!
There we go, max.
Let's go.
Ownage.
There we go.
Let's go.
So I had to do it correctly. What I was gonna say is, for my birthday when we were in Vegas, we went to the Gordon Ramsay restaurant.
Yeah, I saw that.
And when I was reading the menu, I just fell into the into the British narrator voice without even. I just started reading it and I was like, "Oh yes, the bean and squash risotto, beautiful."
That's so fire.
By now, I can break and repair any soul if I try, not just that of a rose, and kill and revive as I please. Come, the barrier of the storm has now sealed Roganjima off from the natural world. Now is the time for the Golden Witch, Beatrice, to descend as an endless witch.
I don't freaking care, dude. I want to see people die.
Okay.
Start killing people.
I was like throwing my brow at Adam for ordering the risotto, but then I tried it and I was like, "Oh no, that shit good."
I mean, risotto's not bad. Yeah, it's nice.
He also initially stole mine.
Damn.
I got the like
Friend
5-course tasting menu, and when they brought out the risotto, Adam was just like, "Oh yeah, give me this."
Give me that shit.
Adam was like, "That's mine." So he got double risotto that day.
Damn, full of rice.
No, you did it on purpose. I refuse to believe.
Narrator.
Beatrice,
Oh, sorry. My bad. He's gonna kill me. He's gonna...
Maria then exploded. Beatrice pulled from her pocket an envelope with the family crest, the one-winged eagle, and gave it to Maria. Whenever they say that, my brain goes, Sabino. Maria frolicked around it, being selected to be the witch's messenger.
So, Kinzo, I've come to join in on your fun once more. My preparations are already complete. What of you? Have you prepared enough coins to bet in tonight's game?
He's counting his coins. He's like 1, 2.
What?
Oh.
Oh, yeah. I heard you talking shit. Of course I'm fully prepared. Beatrice. I've assembled a plethora of pieces. I'm ready both physically and mentally.
I'm hard as a rock.
So then, let us make the ante. All that you have given should be returned to you in the end. Come, take it.
Oh my god.
Kinzo flung the window of his study open wide, took off the valuable golden ring that had been on his finger, and threw it into the darkness of the raging wind and rain. That ring was struck by lightning, and after twinkling gold for an instant, disappeared.
What the fuck?
Fire.
Kinzo watched it go, grinning broadly and fearlessly. I don't think I'll lose. You are mine. Forever!
Oh.
Damn. Bro's got so much regret. He's like, why did I take the bag over the baddie? Why?
The ring that Kinzo had found became a single gold butterfly and fluttered around in the wind and rain. It headed for the rose garden, almost as though it was being guided there. It then found the figure of the golden witch and fluttered down. When it came down right in front of Beatrice, it burst open and returned to its original form, flying through the air. The way it was going, you wouldn't have expected it to fall into a puddle. You would have expected it to fall into a puddle, but it stopped suddenly in midair. Almost as if some transparent person had caught it. Apparently, even Beatrice hadn't expected this. However, she realized who it was, and grinned broadly at it.
Yet! Yes!
Who is this?
So Shane,
new guy.
So Shane, when you read this guy, because it's you,
Oh, okay.
I want you to use your narrator voice.
Oh,
Oh, guys, has the narrator been a real character the whole time?
what?
I think the narrator's been an actual character the whole time.
But also
Okay.
just because it'd be the perfect voice for him.
That's
Okay.
kind of cool. Because am I right about that? Is this just him, the narrator, that's been talking the whole time?
I mean, it's not. It's my headcanon. It could be canon. I don't know. I don't remember it.
Oh, okay.
But
As she did, the shadow of the person who had caught the ring began to fuzzily appear.
I don't know, guys. I don't know what's happening.
It was the figure of a young man wearing a butler's uniform, embroidered with the one-winged eagle crest. There was no man like this amongst the servants of the Oshiromiya family. Even so, Beatrice laughed as though it was someone she remembered fondly.
Renove, is it? It's been quite some time. It seems you have remembered me. You were always a man who took loyalty seriously.
It has been quite some time since your last correspondence. Not for a single day have I, Renove, forgotten that I serve you, milady.
Who the fuck is this guy?
I was more afraid that you had forgotten about me. After all, you can be quite forgetful.
I see, yes, certainly. I certainly am forgetful. I'd forgotten even your sarcasm until I heard it again.
So this is Beatrice's, what is Kinzo's top,
Furniture?
name?
oh,
Yeah, his top guy, his top furniture man.
Genji?
Talking about Genji?
Genji.
yeah, this is her
yeah.
Genji, basically.
Yeah, this is
Yeah,
her
because I was gonna
Genji.
say shortly this is like her top dog servant, basically.
Yeah, okay, gotcha. Milady, take this. With an exaggerated yet elegant gesture, he bowed respectfully and held out to Beatrice the head's ring that he'd just caught. It is the Oshiromiya family head's ring, returned to you from Oshiromiya Kinzo. It is now once again in the possession of its master.
Indeed. This is Kinzo announcing the start of the game. Of course I'll accept it.
So, how shall we play tonight? Shall I prepare the roulette immediately? Or shall I prepare some black tea first?
I can't decide which, but first I need you to greet someone. I'm sure that guy's got his mouth hanging open and can't shut it. Right, Battler?
What the F?
Greetings. Allow me to introduce myself. I am called Renove, and I serve at the side of Milady Beatrice.
I don't know what's going on anymore.
It is truly a pleasure to meet you.
See? His mouth's hanging open and he can't shut it, right?
But I get to interact with Butler, with Battler. My brain.
Yeah.
This is great.
Yeah, no shit! Another incomprehensible guy just showed up! First I grumble about goat-headed people doing the Bond dance, and then goat-head starts showing up in swarms! And since then, not only have those 7... Oh, I see what he's saying. I hate when he talks like this, bro.
So silly.
Fucking... Dude, VNs make a protagonist that's not a pervert challenge difficulty impossible. It's so base, though. And since then, not only have those 7 ass Nasons appeared, but now there's even a butler! It doesn't make sense. Cut it out!
By the way, Battler, did you notice? Did you realize that meeting him is a true devil's proof?
What? Oh, yeah. Devil's proof? What do you mean?
He may not look like it, but this guy is one of the 72, a genuine demon. In other words, I brought a demon right in front of you, which truly proves that they exist. Renove holds a noble rank in hell, the 27th highest ranked great demon. He's a pretty useful man. I summoned him at high cost and made him serve me.
It is an honor to meet you. While my name is amongst those of the nobles of hell, I now serve as the head furniture of Beatrice-sama, who despite being a vulgar human, is a great witch of such caliber that demons flee before her.
He's a very useful man, but he's impudent with his words. Frustratingly enough, he sometimes forgets to respect his master.
Nothing in my contract specifies the manner in which I am to speak. Would you like me to change that contract?
It keeps me entertained, so it's fine.
Beatrice turned her back to him, cackling. After bowing once to her back,
In my head, Ken is that battler, just like, oh.
oh, who the fuck is this guy?
Yeah, dude, I think Battler's owned for life, dude. I think, cause like this guy literally never existed until just now. Because now she's like actually fucking with him hardcore.
Yeah.
Cause she's just like, okay, yeah, literal demon. Explain this.
Explain now.
America explain. Renove turned back to Battler and stuck out his right hand, showing off an innocent smile. Normally, this would mean that he was asking for a handshake.
What is this supposed to be?
I'm another who has been subjected to Milady's whims. In that sense, I'm sure we could become good friends. This is a handshake of friendship. Of course, this is in no way implies your entry into a contract with the demon, so fear not.
Sorry, but I'm right in the middle of a big fight with your master. I only shake hands with an enemy after we've beaten each other up in a rainy schoolyard and we're all worn out, like something you'd see in a teen drama. Remember that.
I see. To shake hands with you, Battler-sama, I must create a fitting atmosphere in a suitable location, exchanging sweet words and physical language with you that rings true to your heart. When the opportunity arrives, I shall arrange for such an encounter. I must say, I simply love situations like that myself.
Who laughs like that, bro?
He does.
As Renove laughed tauntingly, he whispered to Battler, bringing his face close so that their noses were almost touching.
Okay, I was also super tripping when I actually thought he was the narrator, by the way, because he's still being referred to separately. But you made me think that when you told him to do the same voice.
I see what you mean, yeah, no, the voice just fits.
Yeah.
His face turning red after getting so close to another of the same sex pushed him away.
You're a creepy bastard. I see. Just right for Beato's butler.
It is an honor to receive such words of praise. I'm very confident in my tea brewing abilities, so please look forward to tea time. Baking cookies is one of my hobbies, so please feel free to request any snacks you may desire.
Just what I'd expect from a pair of the same gender. You've started getting along well right off the bat. I'm jealous.
My. I apologize for making you jealous, milady. I shall not sneakily snatch your guest away from you. Well then, I will leave for now to retake my post as head furniture and greet my subordinates. Please, forgive my short absence.
Indeed. Only the common goats and the seven sisters used for the ceremony have manifested themselves. You'll be able to finish greeting them in no time.
No? Those lively seven sisters are here? I wonder if those naughty girls have grown a little more graceful.
If that's graceful, I'll have to doubt the definition of the word graceful.
Is that so? Then I suppose you've already had the opportunity to play with those sisters. Judging by your expression, it would seem they're just as naughty as always. Even though I am always telling them to act more fitting as servants of Beatrice Summer. What troublesome kids.
If that's your problem, don't worry. They actually act perfectly fitting for their master.
Now even you have begun to say it. However, a conversation means that you accept your partner. The fact that you've started to respond to my idle chatting proves that you're gradually starting to accept my existence.
That's because, even if the sun starts rising from the west, I will definitely, absolutely never accept that you're a witch. You might want to try a more positive approach, like crying and kissing my shoes.
Even if Battler was bluffing, he still spoke forcefully, as a fearless expression on his face.
Rose trying his best.
The witch and her butler snickered together, realizing that their guest
Wow.
had
Nice
regained
guy.
more than enough willpower to attend to a new game, and that the preparations were complete. After Nova exchanged a few words with Beatrice, he bowed silently to Battler, scattered into several gold butterflies, and disappeared.
Okay, goodbye.
Goodbye!
Later.
Yeah.
Word
seems
to
funny.
your dead mother, Battler.
Fuck.
It is truly pleasing to have such a boisterous atmosphere. How boring were the days when I was trapped alone on this island, unable to regain my power and lacking anyone to talk to.
I get how that unpleasant guy is really fitting as your butler. But tell me, why has that butler only appeared now? You said something about how only the goats and the nachons of the seven stakes had manifested themselves. What did that mean?
Indeed. You still resist, but I am a fully fledged witch. I am in contact with several non-human entities in the spirit world.
I'll bet. No sane people would hang out with you. First some goat monsters, then those ass nachons, and this time a demon butler showed up. I hate to think about it, but the way things are going, I wouldn't be surprised if even more weird people appeared.
Among the furniture that work at my great golden mansion, how many demons do you think want to come over and play? They will keep coming. Many of them will appear. When the door to the Golden Land is opened, I will call back all of my furniture and build my new castle here on Rokenjima. Then I plan to invite all my old friends, and we will drink and dance together for 3 days and 3 nights. Of course, I also plan to invite Kinzo's family, you see. You too, if you wish.
So this is what you mean. That since you lost your power for a long time, you couldn't summon them. And then, since your magic power has been gradually increasing, you've become able to summon more and more monsters?
It is as you say. You stopped a hair's breadth before crumbling, but your heart is already wavering, and you are unable to deny that I am a witch. That wavering in your heart has been slowly restoring my power as a witch.
So, are you trying to say that creepy butler appeared because I started to surrender?
That's right. Bit by bit, you are surrendering to me. Isn't all that humiliation you suffered in the last game a result of you submitting to me so deeply? Wasn't it great when you had to sacrifice your back for the sake of my feet?
Damn it. I thought I'd be able to keep things as they were as long as I didn't accept you. But it looks like that was wrong.
Correct. The closer you get to surrendering, the more the game will swing in my favor. Isn't just the same? In the process of cornering each other's kings, we trade several pieces. Of course, I still haven't cornered your king. And furthermore, you're giving it everything you've got just to help your king escape, and have lost several pieces to me, as well as a large advantage. It is only natural that further developments will turn in my favor.
Damn.
From now on, you will probably be frantic as you try to avoid my checkmate. However, as you do, I will steal your pieces from you one by one. In the end, you'll have lost everything but your king, and you won't be able to escape no matter how much you try. Then, you will receive a true checkmate. You were talking big last time, weren't you? Something about how you'd never accept me and would torment me with eternal torture. Only witches who have reached the endless level can talk about eternity. That's been beyond you, ever since the very beginning. Okay, girl.
Okay.
Okay,
Bye.
girl. Okay, girl.
Well, she loves to yap.
She does. Yeah, when the tables turn, she goes, oh.
I mean, we just started, bro. There ain't no tables yet. I believe in the battler that doesn't believe in anything.
Huh? Kinzo-sama? Okay.
Oh, she's reading a thing.
Oh, she's reading it. Okay. Has already publicly displayed the location of the hidden gold within the epitaph under my portrait. The rules apply equally to all who can read the epitaph.
Oh, this is
If you
the letter.
Yeah. If you discover the gold, I shall return everything to you.
It's like George just realizes that,
Oh,
that
shit.
she's reading the thing.
It's the letter.
She's like, oh.
All right, sorry. I was like, I didn't.
He was talking with his wife.
We left my meds back at home, and I'm a little out of it. I apologize. I might be a little useless this round.
What
That's
meds?
so funny.
What meds?
George, he's got the ADHD. It's just that he's usually tripped out on Adderall. So
That's
he's like,
fine.
The only thing he can pay attention to is his wife.
Wife.
Tonight, I ask that you enjoy your battle of wits with Kinzo-sama to the fullest. I sincerely pray that this night will be both intellectual and elegant. Beatrice the Golden.
When Maria finished reading the letter that Beatrice handed her, everyone was at a loss for words for a while. And then they all broke the silence at once.
Ridiculous. What a worthless, vicious prank.
Seriously, there is no way Father gave up the head's ring. Beatrice? Ha! What a transparent prank, hoping to confuse us just by bringing up that name.
Hey, who filled this dessert up with a little bit too much punch? I want to applaud and praise you. So, clean, okay? Rosa?
Oh,
You
yeah.
like us? You drag everybody? Do you want us to have a little bit of fun?
Of course not. I wouldn't pull a prank by assuming Father's name.
And Anarchy? Anarchy? Huh? Abby?
Me? Are you an idiot? It was Nissan, right? Only he could plan something this vulgar.
He's like, I'm still talking about the punch. I don't care. Are you
I just
trying to
wanted to
mock
know.
me? I'm the one who wants to question you. Who is behind this ill-natured prank?
Kraus beat the table and stared at everyone. Since that included the children too, he scared most of them.
A letter from a mysterious person who claims to have been given full rights to Father's assets. Considering that the whole point of this family conference is a discussion of that subject, I think it's too hasty to call this a mere prank.
We can't be sure. Maybe it really is one of Father's shady pranks. He might have planned this to shock us a bit, since we've been discussing the distribution of his inheritance without him.
If Dad was the one who planned this, then we can't take what Maria-chan just said read aloud as a joke, right?
That's right. If you interpret the contents literally, then this is a test from Father. The epitaph of the witch has been displayed in the hall for quite some time now, so that any one of us could solve it. There was plenty of notice. That means he was saying that the first person to solve it would be handed the inheritance along with all of his wealth, right?
See, my magic granted your wish.
Nothing so foolish could possibly be the case! It is an unshakable fact that my husband is the successor to the Ushinomiya family headship!
Yeah, I forgot she's still kind of annoying.
Well, doesn't this letter shake that? This is a message from the person who has given full rights to all of Father's wealth. Nissan's right to become the head has returned to a blank slate. The person who solves the riddle, the person who finds Beatrice's gold, will become the next head of the Ushinomiya family.
Ridiculous. Do you think we can trust the meaningless words in that letter? That the seal was the real thing? There's no way we could trust that.
Then let's try to go and ask father
Yeah, so
directly.
let's what? Let's what? What? Dumb little sister says
Shut
what?
Up, shut up. At this point,
What?
she just starts tweaking. At this point,
Crash out.
Yeah.
Rudolph just starts filming, going, "We'll stop,
We'll stop.
Dude, honestly, I think Kraus would get his ass beat if she knows judo. I think he would actually get his ass beat.
Definitely. She's probably like one of the only people here with actual combat training of any kind.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Tournament style. Who of the adults who comes out? Of all
pretty
the
sure
adults
It'd
on
probably be
Rokkenjima.
Kirie versus Ava, I think.
Dude, I mean, I don't even think it matters. I think Ava just clears everybody regardless. 'Cause like I said, I think she's literally the only one who actually knows how to fight. The rest of them are just fucking stuffy office workers.
Fire. Then let's try to go and ask father directly. At this point, you can't get away with saying he's grumpy or feeling bad, right? The sealed wax clearly shows that this was from father's representative. If you doubt that, then show some proof, Nissan. Show that this letter does not contain father's will.
Very well. It's just as you say. It no longer matters whether father's in a good mood or not. Let us go up and ask him directly.
Let's do it. We'll ask Dad directly.
Yella
That
just
is
inserted
Dad's.
himself.
So why would he act out in such a roundabout way? Then again, I guess that would be like him.
No, dude, he hella is just along for the drama. That's funny.
I love Rudolph.
I
Yeah.
wonder
funny.
if we really should continue this discussion on the assumption that this letter came from father.
Stupid Rosa!
Oh my god.
Shut up, Meg.
guys, it's just like how she said it always was when they were little.
Isn't
Remember?
it obviously from father? That letter is father's!
It's a
Isn't it
callback.
obvious that he's giving the four of us an even chance to become the successor? Die, you brainless idiot!
Oh my god. Yeah, even the narrator is like.
Oh wait, this is the Ava in her
Yeah,
head.
I was gonna say, is that her thoughts?
Yeah,
that makes more sense.
it's young Ava in her head.
Rosa really is dumb. If only she just give up and die.
I'm sorry. That's right. I'm sorry.
Womp womp. Owned by sister.
In the beginning, the adults had all doubted the credibility of the letter, but after realizing that this was a once-in-a-lifetime chance in the inheritance struggle for the three younger siblings, Ava changed her position, claiming that the letter was authentic. Rudolph and Rosa caught on and agreed.
Outrageous! How can adults like you take such a worthless prank this seriously? I don't need to be father to understand his contempt.
I like that. It's like they still don't actually like believe it that much. They're like, we can spin this for our favor, though.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
That's funny.
It's great.
Whoa! Natsuhi-san, all we gotta do is ask father, and we're done, right? Won't everything be fine if father just tells us that he doesn't know about any letter?
Nissan, take responsibility and just get him to say that he doesn't know about the letter. This is no time to get scared just because he's in a bad mood, okay?
He's still scared of father at his age, that idiot. If only he'd just give up and die.
Yeah, let's get this settled clearly. He's probably eating in his study right now. Oh, wait, is that him doing burnouts? And then they see him doing burnouts outside with the,
Oh,
with
shit.
the ATV again. Dude, that's another piece of art we're gonna need. Just fucking, because we brought this up so many times. It's gotta be the fucking Kinzo on the ATV doing burnouts with the scissor up in his hand,
Yeah, please.
looking for Beatrice in the woods.
Yeah, it has to be in the rain too. Like,
Yeah. He's probably eating in his study right now. Let's have him set down his chopsticks for just a moment.
It's decided, let's go! It was part of my idea too. Carrier, wait here for a while. We'll go check whether it's true or not and come back quickly.
what the fuck? Thank you. I'll wait patiently for Goto-san to bring in dessert. Oh boy.
The four siblings, Natsuhi and Hideyoshi, all rose from their seats and forcefully flew out into the hallway with a clatter. Afterwards, only the children, stunned and completely speechless, Nanjo, who looked uncomfortable, and Kirie, who just shrugged, were left.
She's like,
Nanjo's like, you kids read about the HIV epidemic? It is the 80s. You guys hear about this old monkey disease?
I have
It's
HIV.
crazy.
I have HIV. I mean, what? Oh.
You know, they say that it came from the monkey, but I think the gays are just filthy.
Just because I had sex with them.
Yeah,
doesn't make me gay.
I said no homo.
I kept my socks on the whole time.
Holy shit.
You know, the Romans would lie with each other before battle. That wasn't gay. So why is it gay now? It's stress relief.
Do you think him and Kinzo explore each other's bodies?
Dude, I don't think he's exploited anybody's body, to be honest. Bro has been dedicating years of his life to get this shit to happen. He has probably done nothing else. He probably hasn't showered. It smells
Oh
terrible.
my god.
You say he's mystical Asmongold?
Pretty much,
oh my
yeah.
god, fire.
if Asmongold studied magic.
Good lord.
In the middle of all this was Maria, who looked a little scared at the adults' sudden change. Blah, blah, blah. There's too much phlegm in my mouth. However, judging from her appearance, she didn't look like she realized the full meaning of what she'd just read.
What in the world was that out? Oh my god! It's infected me. What in the world was that all about? I don't get it.
They're all bastards. Do they really want the inheritance that much?
Everyone, this is our parents' problem. It has nothing to do with us. So, you mustn't worry about it.
Even if you say that, they were so blatant about it.
I can't believe them. Showing off their greed like that.
Everyone has to believe together that we'll be happy.
That's right, we all did promise. Come on, Battler-kun, Jessica-chan, you too.
I feel horrible.
We couldn't accept it at all, but we laid down our arms for the time being. We've been vaguely aware of how filthy this family conference was going to be. However, after that 6-year blank, I couldn't help being shocked.
Yeah, no!
This one's the narrator because he
Yeah.
says
Okay,
the
this one
children.
is, okay. Oh yeah, it does say that, okay. When he saw that the children were completely dejected, Dr. Nanjo cleared his throat uncomfortably.
It's an adult matter. Oh, sorry. It's an adult matter. It has nothing to
Okay.
do with all of you young people. Let us forget about it.
Hey, what if I could? I know it's hard, but forget it for now.
All of your parents are fighting frantically to make your futures just a little brighter. Please, don't look at your injured parents with those cold eyes when they come back.
No matter how much you ask us, Kirie-san, that'll be tough.
If we could be happy with an explanation like that, we wouldn't be kids. Everyone be happy! Stop fighting!
Oh, wow.
Can't get dark! Believe! If everyone doesn't believe we can be happy, the happiness will get away! Everyone has to believe!
I like the sound of that. I'll believe too. I'll believe we can find happiness.
Everything's gonna be alright.
Kyrie, thank you!
It's gonna be fine.
Battler and Jessica, you believe too! Beatrice is also always saying that magic won't have any power if you don't believe!
Kirie-san rose from his seat quietly, went over to Maria, and crouched down so that their eyes met.
Aunt Kyrie believed. Now Battler and Jessica have to believe.
Those two are strong. They'll feel better soon, and then they'll believe.
Yeah.
More importantly,
I want you to tell me something.
When Kyrie-san
Oh no,
said-
it's Battle.
Okay.
I think it was him earlier too, but I fucking wasn't paying attention.
Gaslit me.
I didn't say anything that time.
I gaslit me.
Yeah, you did. When Kyrie-san said that, Jessica, George Aniki, Dr. Nanjo, and I all listened closely. It looked like our parents were so concerned with the inheritance problem that grandfather filled their minds. But we wanted to ask Maria about something simpler.
What? Who gave you that letter? Beatrice! The witch drawn in that portrait? She gave me this letter and an umbrella. And she used magic to fix my rose that was broken. Beatrice is an awesome witch who can do anything. Could you tell us about that in a bit more detail? Oh! Oh!
Wow.
Oh!
Just like another time skip.
I
Yeah, this shit going
love
fast.
8 o'clock. 8 o'clock.
Okay, is this still Battle?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. Without even being allowed to wait for dessert, we were chased out of the room. I heard that in the end, our parents were unable to get grandfather to respond. Well, I hate to say it, but I feel like giving grandfather a high five right now. He was probably pretty satisfied with how this strange letter had given his children a good shock, since they'd all been so infatuated with the inheritance problem while grandfather was still alive. I also felt like our despicable parents had gotten what they deserved in all of this confusion. But I couldn't really say that I was feeling great. I felt all sulky. Apparently, grandfather hadn't seemed concerned with the whole thing, but he also hadn't denied anything about the letter either. When talking about the witch's letter, grandfather's name kept popping up. If grandfather knew that someone was stealing his name, then considering his character, he'd probably be mad with rage. But even though grandfather now knew the contents of that letter, he coldly ignored it. So did that count as a silent yes? Aunt Ava and Dad were trying to interpret the letter in their favor, their greed clearly visible.
Get your money up, not your funny up. That one.
It wouldn't have mattered so much if that was all, but the adults had now started focusing on Maria, who had received the letter. They kept pounding her with questions about who had given it to her. Maria repeated over and over again that she had gotten it from Beatrice, but there was no way such a mysterious person could have sneaked onto the island. After all, this island's small, and there's no one living on it outside the Ushinomiya family household. Maria kept repeating that she'd gotten it from Beatrice no matter how many times she was asked. The adults seemed to think she was trying to trick them, so they didn't hold back and questioned her until she broke out in tears. When Maria was released, she sobbed, all worn out from crying. After our parents ordered us to go to the guest house and take Maria with us, they shut themselves up in the dining hall and started getting louder and louder as they discussed the inheritance. It seemed that because of the strange letter, Uncle Krause's chances of becoming the next head might have been reduced to a blank slate. And in exchange for accepting him, my dad and the rest were trying to swindle Uncle Krause out of a lot of money, or something like that. Disgusted as we were, Jessica and I were happy to move over to the guest house. We didn't want to be under the same roof as those filthy adults, their heads so filled with thoughts about money. George Aniki pleaded on our parents' behalf, saying that he wanted us to understand them. I understood his reasoning. No matter how filthy this talk of money was, it wouldn't go away if you just closed your eyes to it. But even so, how could they sink so low as to overtly fight over the money of the dead? Damn, bro, I feel like he's never done so much musing. Bro needs to start doing more mewing.
Oh.
Maria had cried herself dry and was hiding in her bed. She hadn't even twitched for a while, so she was probably sleeping.
Who in the world gave that letter to Maria-chan?
George Nissan, you can't ask her that anymore. Isn't it fine to say that Maria got it from Beatrice and leave it at that?
After all, we don't want to make her cry any more than this. Even though we said that, we couldn't clear away the gloomy feeling.
Oh, now George is the one being more obsessed over it. Oh, this is more subtle changes to the beginning of this one.
Uh-huh.
Because it wasn't the first time around it was Battler being like, nah, the amount of people here. Immediately, that was his thing.
I don't remember exactly.
Something to that effect. Yeah, I sort of remember.
Yeah, because I remember because the first one, yeah, George was like, yeah, Beatrice gave it to you, sure. And now he's questioning it.
Yeah, well, because
see.
it at the very least, it kind of shows that like the direction of Battler's like thoughts has like changed, right? Because that was originally like his idea. He was like, no, there can't be a Beatrice because there's only so many people here. But now he's like, he's become more of a believer, right? So
Yeah,
he's
that's
like,
what I was thinking.
he's less concerned about that and more concerned about
Yeah.
Maria, even though he doesn't realize that's why.
There are only 18 people on this island now. The thought that somewhere in the rain a 19th person gave Maria-chan a letter and is now hiding somewhere doesn't seem realistic at all.
Most likely, somebody got Shannon or someone to put on the dress from that portrait, and cleverly got Maria to go along with their story. Though, in Maria's case, just seeing the dress would probably convince her that it really was Beatrice.
Oh, I also just realized that this is the first time, like, only the kids are tackling the mystery. Because before, like, everybody was kind of scattered in the first part. And then in the second part, if you remember, like, at the beginning, all of the adults start, like, working together and postulating on, like, okay, what the fuck's going on? But now they're just fighting over the money still. So now it's the kids' turn to take a crack at it.
Yeah.
Maybe it doesn't really matter who handed her the letter. The important thing is who sent it. The point is that grandfather wanted to cause an uproar by assuming the name of the witch. Seriously, that old geezer's good at riling people up. The most likely answer is that our occult-loving grandfather was playing around, handing the letter over to Maria, who shares the same hobby as he does in such a dramatic way. Though we failed to give any thought for what Maria would have to go through, making it a pretty shitty thing to do. Seriously, messing around with Maria's pure heart. It doesn't matter who handed over the letter. Maria says she got it from Beatrice, so let's treat it that way.
I agree. Let's do that. To Maria-chan, Beatrice is kind of like what Santa Claus is to most kids.
Whether we're dealing with some non-existent 19th person or Santa Claus, as long as we all acknowledge them, they'll at least exist inside Maria. I see. Guess it can be important to lie to a child to protect their dreams. Huh? What's up, Jessica? Are you still angry? Jessica had her hand on her chin, as though there was something that she just couldn't understand. When I called out to her, she came to her senses.
Sorry. Well, actually, I was wondering if Maria might have actually met Beatrice.
What do you mean by that? Are you saying there's a 19th person on this island?
Yeah.
If you truly take Maria-chan's words to heart, then you would arrive at that answer.
No, that's not what I mean. I'm talking about the story that someone we don't know has been living on this island since long ago. Whoa.
Living, you say? Where?
In the forest.
Oh, so they're actually acknowledging that there are other places on this island.
Right.
Because when she was actually a guest, they kept saying, oh, the island is so tiny, the house is the only thing on it. But in the first game, they're like, there's a pretty big forest.
Yeah.
Well, because I'm pretty sure that was an idea that was given to them by the adults, wasn't it? Like they kind of spoon-fed them that, and they just sort of believed it. But like, you know, this time they're not involved, so like they get to use a little bit more of that
Their own
younger
agency,
that younger person's imagination, and being like, well, what if somebody's fucking hiding in the forest?
Yeah.
Ah, so it's like Akira, but hopefully no one explodes.
Somebody's probably gonna explode, guys.
Oh
Well-
boy.
Stabbing, hopefully, is as far as it goes. The adults were gathered in the dining hall, spending a very long time continuing the discussion that had been started by Beatrice's letter. Kraus strongly claimed that the letter was a simple prank, but he couldn't overturn the claim that Kinzo's failure to deny the letter was answer enough. Excuse me. Judging by Kinzo's character, he knew that a letter had been written in his name. He would have been mad with rage. Since all of the siblings knew that, Kraus had no choice but to withdraw his claim. Get
Oh.
owned.
Hello.
Today's the day for
So
what?
hello, Sebatia. Oh no. What is gonna happen today?
What is the day of today? Without even having to summarize it, the contents of the letter was simple. Proceeds to summarize the letter.
Oh yeah.
Gotta love visual novel writing.
Yeah, well, because they're doing both. It's tell and show. They tell you how simple it is, and then they show you.
And then they explain it again just in case. The person who could solve the witch's epitaph would receive the headship and the assets. This did a lot of damage to Kraus, who had been sure that he would receive the headship, and was better news for the rest of them, who had already given up. Could have hoped for. However, there were some points that worried them. The person who solved the epitaph was not limited to a member of the Oshiromiya family.
Oh my God, Kinzo!
Taken. You're trying to solve my riddle.
Crashes through the wall with the ATV.
Crashes through Beatrice's portrait.
It takes the letter. You'll never get it. Drives into the forest.
Hello, Battler. It seems like you could use some help with solving this riddler. Have a Kool-Aid jammer.
Oh God, oh God. And today's Metatober drawing is going to be dedicated on the choice you made earlier. Today we are drawing from the prompt list named, oh God. Hello? What does that mean? I love how they're announcing
I think you're
it.
getting more
Yeah.
fan.
Yes!
announcing, announcing the fan art.
Oh yeah, this is huge.
This is so huge.
Where was I? Alright, and furthermore, this meant that there was a chance that all of the Oshiromiya family assets would be stolen by some unknown person riding an ATV. In that sense, it was definitely not a situation where even the other siblings could afford to lower their guard. Had this letter come from an assassin sent by Kinzo, calling themselves Beatrice? Or was this the scheme of some unknown person trying to steal the Oshiromiya family's wealth? They still did not know the truth. But they could say one thing for certain. Shit be whack, yo. Maria had received this problematic letter today on this island. In other words, someone planning something to do with that letter was on this island today. Had it been set up by Kinzo, one of the four siblings, or maybe some unknown person? No matter how much they suspected each other, they couldn't reach a conclusion.
Wait. Okay, hold on. Today's prompt is what the fuck is chrysolite? Chrysolite?
Definitely chrysolite.
I have no idea what the fuck that means.
Crystal light.
It's like a
Crystallite?
gemstone, right?
Crystallite.
Is that you go draw some iced tea?
Yeah, see, I was right. It's like a type of gemstone.
That's cool. I would assume so because light usually equals gemstone. It's peridot.
Mhm.
Oh, that's cool.
That's my favorite Steven Universe character.
Don't
Wow.
you bring up the name of an inferior property when we're playing UMINEKO?
Oh god, nothing compares to UMINEKO. Don't bring up other works of fiction while playing it.
You guys only have read up to episode 3.
And you've only read up to
Well-
episode 4, so we're not really far behind you, huh?
Well, guess
Huh.
what? I've tried multiple times. I've gotten up to like episode 3 of Steven Universe. I was like, huh, weird self-referential, full of herself show made by a person who's totally not a pedophile.
Huh?
Sure, great, yeah.
Huh?
We've
Dude.
gone over this so many times, Bree.
The legendary Ed, Ed and Eddie fan art.
Yeah, the legendary
Now, I have not seen
drawings of several she drew children in not great
that. Oh dear.
situations.
Oh dear.
I'll be real. You guys know me. I don't give a fuck about the cartoon characters, but Steven Universe definitely tells you that you can redeem Nazis, which is really funny.
Yeah.
I think that's hilarious.
Well, it's like, oh god, just my issue with Steven Universe. Okay, my apologies.
The soapbox. The soapbox.
Steven
My
Universe
issue with
enjoyer
Steven
sits
Universe is it morally grandstands about shit, and then the exact thing that they were morally grandstanding about becomes like a petty reason to make a joke about a character later on. And just like whoever's writing, if it is Rebecca Sugar, is so dense they can't even fucking see that they've contradicted each other so many goddamn times.
Yeah, well, it's like they want to push this message of like everybody deserves a second chance, anybody can be redeemed, where their villains are like literal war criminals and their main characters are just like the most unlikable people ever.
Yeah, and then the people they don't redeem is like a dude who was like a dick one time.
No, seriously. But hey,
Anyway.
chat, remember, if you enjoy Steven Universe, that's okay and good for you. We just don't.
Yeah, it's just not my thing.
I'm not very my chips.
We'll get to work, narrator.
I'm talking about Steven Universe.
Sorry,
Anyway,
I got sidetracked.
after getting tired of bickering about Steven Universe with each other, they finally reached the extremely obvious conclusion that doubting each other was a waste of time. And that Nicki Minaj was okay in that one part of it.
True, she was okay in that
She
episode.
spoke 3 lines.
It is very expensive.
It was. They never got it
Yeah,
back.
she's quite the expensive person. We've made no progress. We've just been spinning our wheels.
That's right. And the mere fact that you realized it means you won't have to waste any more time. It is not certain that father sent the letter. My husband is merely exasperated by your inability to hold a conversation. Who's unable to hold a conversation? You keep yelling at me every time I say something. Do you truly think that such shameful behavior is fitting for a member of the Ushinomiya family?
Would you give it a rest, Ava? You too, Nazi-san. That topic's finished for now.
And Annie, may I say your Hideyoshi voice, I think, is my favorite voice that you can do.
Yeah, well, it's funny because it's just completely different from every other voice I can do.
Yeah, no, it's like that because you know my range is like I could do the narratory and the accents usually in a deep to mid voice.
Yeah.
And then I just have my effeminate boy voice, and like that's my favorite to do. But hearing all of your like more the higher pitched determinate males and things like that, and then just.
Yeah, it's like the only because you're mid low and I'm like mid high, so that's like the only deep voice I do.
It's so good. Like it sounds natural though too. Like
Thank you, thank you.
do that well.
Eventually, this will be compiled into a single voice-acted copy of the game. The side conversations will be on the commentary track. That would be a lot of fucking work. That would be a lot of work.
So
Yeah,
much
that would be a lot of work, and also we've had a lot of mistakes that you would have to take out. And
Honestly,
some
we just do it. We just do it for like, we just record it.
Well,
honestly.
yeah, I was gonna say that's the funny part is I wanted to proposition to you guys like actually doing something like that, like from the ground up, just recording the dialogue and shit.
Oh,
but the
God.
thing is that there's already a project doing that came out like 2 months ago.
LOL.
So, good idea, wrong time, I guess.
We could pick out some cool scenes and just do it,
Yeah, totally, that'd be fun.
and make it better than that other one probably.
You're such a dick.
Look, that's how if you're making something, you gotta think like that. You gotta.
Guys, we're the goats. Don't
We are
support
the
any other
ones.
people.
We're the
Other
best voice
people are
actors in the entire
boring.
fucking world.
It's legit. Like I see our group posting things of like either you know, of course, if we get into projects, people post that us making our creative stuff. Meanwhile, if I can see other voice actors who are like on our same level, but outside of our friend group, they're like, I hate my life, everyone hates me.
No, yeah, they're very dramatic. I won't lie. A lot of them.
I'm like, well, people in our friend group are just kind of
Looking
based,
at
I
you,
guess.
VA Twit.
True.
Yeah, look at you voice acting Twitter together.
Shall we all cool our heads off for now? Let's have some cool drinks brought over, like some Mountain Dew.
Some dew.
I forgot what I forgot Baja Blast. I was gonna say Baja Blast, but I forgot.
Dew. Maria starts chugging Mountain Dew.
That
You're
sounds
saying
good.
we should do the do.
It'd probably be wiser if we cooled our heads. Don't you want to take a short break too, dear?
Anarchy looks like she's in a bad mood, so I'll pass on that break. But I agree about the cool drinks. Rosa, have someone bring me some water and a Baja Blast. Yeah, a whole pitcher of Baja Blast, actually.
Yes, understood.
You guys have voltage back there? Anyway. Rosa headed over to the extension telephone in a corner of the room and called the servant room. She then passed on what Rudolph had told her to the person on the other end.
They brought out a whole thing of Prime.
Oh
This
yeah,
is what
Prime
I-
energy. They UMINEKO, but they eat lunchly and listen to Thick of It by KSI.
Oh no.
Oh my god. You better
See,
be like, I'm in the thick of it. Everybody knows.
Everybody knows.
I also love how petty Beatrice is with the phone. As soon as they try to use the phone to call for help, she disables it. But if they're
Yeah.
like, can we get some drink up in here?
She's like, all right.
No, for real.
Hold on, getting a phone call. Hold on, getting a phone. Hello?
Hello? Oh my god, it's Beatrice.
Oh, I heard you wanted Baja
Okay, damn
Blast.
No!
We only have sugar-free.
I prefer Code Red.
Me and KSI brought you 6 packs of free Prime. I'm in the thick of it. Everybody
He
knows.
starts hitting the gritty.
Wait for KSI's tweet hating on Kenzo.
Oh my god.
For real. Okay. Let's
Okay. The vicious bickering up until now vanished as though it had been a lie. That silence continued until Godo finished setting the table and retreated from the room. Is there anything else that you require? Yeah, I'm still fucking tired of that guy.
Oh god, please leave us.
Yes, then you'll excuse me if you need anything. Call me at any time. I'm gonna keep trying to turn the servant room into a bodega. Don't worry about it. After listening to the sounds of Goda's footsteps disappear off into the distance, everyone took a deep breath at the same time to break the tension.
It sure is raining hard. I wonder if this 19th person is taking shelter in the rose garden arbor about now. I wonder. They might be able to escape the rain there, but that it would be quite cold.
A mysterious 19th person as a visitor. Sounds pretty interesting. Just like a mystery novel. Normally, in that kind of story, it's a safe bet that the person doesn't exist. That one of us 18 would be faking it.
I suspect Genji and the others. Just as I thought. It would have been better if we oh my god. Just as I thought, it would have been better if we had dismissed all of the servants of the one-winged eagle, no matter what excuses we had to make.
Come now, don't say that. We must be grateful for their long years of service. Of course, we can't let our guard down.
I'm sure you agree too, Misan, that whether or not Father was behind this, the person who handed Maria that letter was a servant.
Indeed. In any event, we were all being friendly in our big happy circle until dinner, weren't we? All of the siblings have alibis. Only a servant could have handed Maria that letter.
But of all the servants, it said that they were so busy with the bed making to have any spare time during which they could go to Maria-chan in the rose garden.
Hey, what are you trying to say then? You aren't saying that the Witch of the Forest, Beatrice-sama, came over and actually handed Maria that letter, are you?
Rosa, you used to believe in that so much. It really frightened you, right? Don't tell me you still believe at this age in the Witch of the Forest. If she did exist, I'd love for her to appear. But no matter how much I wished, she didn't appear before me even once. She didn't save me from my crisis.
She's jelly.
Of course not. I just thought that since all 18 of us said we didn't do it, there might really be a 19th person.
That can't be. In the first place, we were the only ones who came in on the boat. We didn't see any mysterious stranger riding with us. You don't think they could have swam across this rough sea, right? I can't really imagine it.
Logically, that's true. It is difficult to imagine that there's a single hidden and uninvited guest on this isolated island. However, it looks like some of us still can't abandon the possibility completely, right? Me.
Hideyoshi had laughed it off, saying there couldn't be a 19th person, but Kyrie had sensitively picked up on the delicate atmosphere among the four siblings. In a normal situation, there shouldn't have been any uninvited guests on this small, isolated island. How would they have come here, and from where? And where were they hiding? And why hadn't they appeared openly, even though they had sent a letter in their name? Nothing could explain that. But not only had the four siblings not joined in on Hideyoshi's laughing, they also seemed unable to completely deny in their hearts the possibility of a 19th person.
Kyrie-san, please don't misunderstand. It's not as though we believe in anything like that fairy tale-like legend of the witch.
Is this another topic to insult Father? Simply speaking of such a thing as betrayal against him. I wonder. However, this is Father we're talking about. It could be possible, right? I don't know anything.
What's this? What's this? Why's everyone gotten so gloomy? What are you talking about? In short, the legend of the witch isn't a joke, but a fact? That's ridiculous.
Of course, nobody believes in some witch riding a broom and flying in the sky. But the woman in that portrait, Beatrice, might really have existed on this island.
Hideyoshi-san, it looks like we aren't talking about a witch, but something a little simpler. So, it must be something like this. Everyone suspects that Father had a mistress named Beatrice, secretly living somewhere on this island. Is that it? Father was always exemplary at keeping strictly to the rules. It is completely inconceivable that he would bring something so filthy onto this island.
Didn't he make up those rules, though?
She does not know about the Epstein Island,
She's
bro.
blazing!
I think this is the exact place somebody would do stuff they weren't supposed to.
Yeah. Natsuhi snapped at them immediately, but it looked like the four siblings, including Kraus, didn't agree. On the contrary, they appeared to think that Kinso wouldn't have hesitated to do something like that, almost like he's a billionaire or something. From the beginning, it had been whispered that Kinso built a mansion on this island, specifically because of the existence of an enchanting mistress. I'm sorry, Natsuhi-san. I know how much you respect Dad, but that rumor's been around for a long time. All the buildings on Rokkenjima were built by Dad on his own. People always guessed that he had some contraption or secret room set up in this mansion that only he knew about. Excuse me. And it's always been whispered that hidden somewhere on this island that there's a secret mansion none of us know about.
This is the first time this has been brought up, I think. Like an entirely separate building. Like a separate mansion. That's crazy.
See. This island might look small on a map, but it's quite large for just the Ushinomiya family to live on. So people have suspected that he built a secret mansion somewhere in the uncivilized forest for his mistress to live in?
So they were just straight up lying to the kids in the last one.
That would be quite a large-scale scheme.
Not surprised.
In the beginning, people thought it might have been somewhere inside this mansion, that there might be a hidden basement with a fabulous hidden room where the witch in the portrait was secretly hiding. After seeing that intricate auto lock in Dad's study too, it isn't too hard to imagine, right?
After all, Father did spread the rumor that a large amount of gold was hidden somewhere by some mechanism. I wouldn't be surprised if there existed some hidden room inside this very mansion that none of us know about yet.
When Mother was alive, she would often scour the entire mansion, searching for Father when he wasn't anywhere to be found. Mother also suspected what Rudolph just said. She believed that there was a hidden door or stairway somewhere, and that his blonde-haired mistress was hidden behind it.
Is this narrator?
I have no idea.
Yeah, it should be.
Or is this Ava?
I guess go narrator.
Yeah, I think it's him.
It's hard to believe, but there are some actual examples in other countries of people cheating with someone over a period of several decades by making them live in a hidden attic room. Furthermore, Kinzo had a mansion this extravagant. It was possible to suspect the existence of a hidden room.
From what I've heard, the legend of the Rokenjima witch. Oh my God, Kinzo! Like yes, I had a.
There he is. He's driving to the secret location right now.
Are you talking shit? I heard you.
Beatrice, I'm coming home!
From what I've heard, the legend of the Rokenjima witch was just a fairy tale made up to scare children away from the uncivilized forest. But it's starting to sound like there's a little more to the story.
Well, as you know, this is a lonely island without anything but the Oshiromiya mansion on it. When Rosa and I were little brats on stormy nights, we got so scared by the sound of trees rustling in the direction of the forest. We had this crazy delusion that something weird might be looking out at us from between those trees. It's only natural for a brat to think of stuff like that. But when Rosa and I complained about it, some people figured it was more than a brat's imagination. Isn't that right, Aniki?
Yeah. Nissan and I thought you might have coincidentally spotted Father's mistress, living in secrecy on this island, as she went out for a walk when no one was looking. Of course, Mother felt the same.
Even among the older servants, you often heard the ghost story about how the witch of the portrait wanders the mansion at midnight. Outwardly, I laughed it off as just a ghost story, but on the inside, I suspected very much that it hinted at the existence of a hidden mistress. In that case, you're saying that the existence of a 19th person might not be completely ridiculous? That they might actually be somewhere around here?
Sounds like one of those devil's proofs Rudolph's always talking about. It might be possible to prove that there is a 19th person, but it's impossible to prove that a 19th person doesn't exist. Should we continue this discussion under the assumption that there's a person named Beatrice hiding somewhere on this island?
Yeah, that's a good plan. From the perspective of risk management, it's probably much more prudent to say she might exist, rather than saying she couldn't exist.
I see. Sorry, I was being a bit careless. Rosa-san, sorry for laughing just now.
It's fine, I don't mind.
He's such a nice guy, bro.
Yeah.
He's the only nice one.
The only
Pretty
one who
much, yeah.
actually says sorry.
Because he's not blood.
He's a self-made man.
Woohoo!
Hideyoshi apologized deeply for taking the worst-case scenario lightly, despite calling himself the president of a company.
The wind.
Silence fell again. Preparing for the existence of a 19th person would mean, in effect, acknowledging the presence of some unknown person hidden on this island. And since this person might be planning something shady, it was only natural that the conversation would turn in an ominous direction.
In the past, Father would sometimes suddenly disappear without telling anyone where he went. After all, he is a man who values silence. It wouldn't have been out of the ordinary for him to shut himself up in some library room after purposefully not telling anyone where he was going. However, when the witch theory was slowly refined into the theory about his mistress, people eventually whispered that he was secretly going back and forth to see her.
Mom was totally paranoid in her last years. She'd sometimes suddenly start making a fuss, asking the servants to start looking for Dad immediately because of some urgent situation.
Yes, that did happen sometimes. Mother was always doing things like that in her later years, and that frightening atmosphere still hasn't gone away. I can't say it for certain. Oh, I can say it for certain now. She was a person to be pitied.
So then, what happened with those large-scale searches of the house? Did they find anything?
No. Father wasn't caught foolishly in a hidden room even once. Always, after a long time had passed, he would suddenly show up somewhere. Then he'd say he'd taken a nap in some library room, or that the wind had summoned him to take a walk on the beach. But it was always some place where the servants had already looked. We never knew where Father had gone. Even at that time, Grandfather was famous for his occult inclinations. So some of the servants exaggerated, saying that he might have turned into butterflies and danced around the rose garden. So in short, Father frequently disappeared, and no one knew where he went.
Yeah, since we couldn't find him no matter how much we looked inside the mansion, we got more and more sure that Dad might have been somewhere outside. But the area outside the mansion isn't large at all, which leaves only the forest. And if you tie that in with the legend of the witch, you get a theory like this. Father actually built a hidden mansion somewhere in the forest, inside of which a mistress by the name of Beatrice lived, and he sometimes went there to see her.
I was also young at the time. I was so eager to find where Father was having his affair that at one time I followed him when he went outside. Of course, it was a failure. Every time Father went out, he was oddly intent on avoiding places where he might be seen, and was extremely careful to prevent anyone from spotting him. And he was extraordinarily earnest in his attempts to do so. But that actually made me sure. He must have been going out for some reason that the members of his family couldn't know about. And that'd be going to meet his mistress, probably trying to avoid being seen.
Excuse me. After seeing Hideyoshi nod and say, yes, yes, as though this was quite obvious, Ava got a little sullen.
Well, anyway, this island was like a sketchbook in which Father, with his Western obsession, could draw out all of his dreams. Everything about this island was exactly how Father wanted it. It wouldn't be odd at all if there was a hidden mansion somewhere for his mistress to live in.
Ava's words spoke for what all of the siblings had come to think. For a while, the room returned to silence again, and everyone listened to the sound of the wind and the rain. Was there a hidden mansion on this island? And had Kinzo's mistress been living there in hiding for a long, long time? Everyone thought they were being too suspicious, and they hesitated for a long time without speaking. But everyone had shared a common opinion. Kyrie, who had been listening the whole time with her eyes closed, spoke to no one in particular.
How long has this rumor about Father's mistress been around?
As soon as we moved to this island about 30 years ago. After all, it probably would have been impossible for him to have a hidden mansion built while we were here. People and materials would have to be going in and out. It would have been exposed quickly. So, if it was possible, it happened before we moved here. It probably could have been built along with this mansion while we were still living in Odawara.
Since Father had set up a double life with his family and his mistress, it's probably reasonable to assume that he had it all planned from the beginning. And his relationship with that mistress probably went back to the days when he lived in Odawara.
Probably.
If, as father says, she is the source of the vast amount of gold he used to gain the funds that resurrected the Yoshinomiya family, we could probably conclude that they had a close relationship since Odawara. A relationship trusting enough for her to lend him a vast quantity of gold. I can't even imagine how old that relationship must have been.
Perhaps father gave her some kind of valuable advice for succeeding in business. It's natural to think that, out of a sense of gratitude for that, this person gave father the gold. If you think about it that way, it's obvious that they would have a close relationship after that. Rather than a festering relationship with a mistress, it was probably a relationship of gratitude to the person who saved the Ushinomiya family from its crisis.
I don't know if what Natsuhi-san's saying has a ring of truth to it or not. But even in that case, isn't building a hidden mansion and having her live in it going a bit too far? Doesn't that mean they felt something a bit more than gratitude?
Well, this is all just speculation in the first place. No one's ever found that hidden mansion. Aniki, you were planning on expanding this island into a resort, right? As you were doing that, you didn't manage to stumble on it by chance, did you? Maybe you even bumped us into some gold here, too?
Do you think Rokenjima is Treasure Island or something?
Don't play dumb. We know that. Although you say you're opening a resort, you have really been planning to investigate the entire island, right? Judging by all that trouble and confusion we were talking about earlier, you haven't been very successful, have you?
I don't know what you're talking about, but it's just a misunderstanding. Isn't it perfectly natural that investigating this island would be the first step in turning it into a resort?
Kraus tried to play dumb, but it was plainly obvious to his siblings, who knew him so well. Kraus was definitely sure of the existence of a hidden mansion. And under the pretense of opening a resort, he had been closely investigating the island, searching for a clue as to the location of the hidden gold. They couldn't tell whether that conviction was just him overthinking things, or whether it was based on some physical proof. Still, if Kraus, with all of his guile, was sure, that was good enough for the other siblings to be sure too.
The story about a witch living in a forest is obviously a fairy tale, but the story about some blonde-haired girl living secretly in a mansion no one knows about in the middle of a forest, that isn't much better.
That's right. That really would be just like a fairy tale. You like those, don't you, Rosa? Well...
When the mansion was built on this island, Father was at the height of his prosperity. With his money, he could probably obtain anything, make any of his wild imaginings real. A mansion in the forest where a witch quietly waits. It sounds like the kind of situation Father would like.
Doesn't it? Like something from the occult or a fairy tale. It feels like Dad's kind of hobby.
This is like discovering your parent has a weird fetish.
On this island, on which the Yoshinomiya family had lived for 30 years now, a hidden mansion that no one knew about had been quietly built to house a witch, about whom nothing was known except what could be guessed from a portrait. Even this hastily thrown together theory might not be completely delusional, considering all of Kinzo's strange habits and his vast wealth. I was thinking that she had to have some sort of thing on the island too, because like the shrine was affecting her, and shrines are usually like for an area where people live.
Right, yeah, like they're meant to be visited, you know?
Yeah, well they're also meant to with Shintoism, it's like so you're supposed to protect.
Well, yeah, I mean, that's what that shrine was there for. Like, it was protecting... it was protecting the area from Beatrice. Because the mirror was up.
So she... Well, I'm saying, so in order for that to be, like, a thing, she had to have lived there. Because shrines are to protect the people who live there from the Shinto creatures who live there, too.
Yeah, right. Because like those type of spirits are often like local, just as the people are.
Yeah.
You know, so like the fact that there's one to protect the area from her means that she was probably in close proximity.
Hmm. It might have not been possible for Father to build a hidden mansion to satisfy his dreams. However, let's be realistic. Would it be possible to house his beloved woman in that hidden mansion for decades without it becoming inconvenient? Well, if there was love, it could have been doable, right? Think of the facilities needed to let his beloved woman live healthily, and in a way that would satisfy Father. For example, even if it was on a small scale, it would have to be an intricate and pleasant residence. And it would probably need to have electricity, gas, and running water maintained, as well as some people to see to her needs. Even cooking would be quite difficult. She would need clothes and makeup, the daily necessities. The needs of a woman aren't simple. Would it be possible to maintain all of that without any of the family or the servants noticing?
When you say it that way, it sure sounds like a weak point in our theory. But that isn't enough to get rid of my feeling that Dad might have been able to do it anyway. After all, this is Dad we're talking about.
That's right. It's our father. If Father wanted to succeed in an endeavor, he would succeed no matter what. Saying that something would be difficult for a normal person and therefore impossible doesn't apply when it comes to Father.
Indeed, you should never underestimate Father. Father's madness can't be understood by normal people.
Oh.
This is still the narrator.
Are you
I think.
sure? He's using the I word.
Oh, that's true. I don't know who this is then.
Well,
Probably Ava, yeah.
I wouldn't put it past that, Kenzo. As long as you stick to this phrase, I can say. Oh wait, no, it's a phrase.
Oh, so see, I was right,
Yeah,
Ah,
they just didn't put in
I wouldn't-
quotes.
This time I got gaslit.
I wouldn't put it past that, Kinso. As long as you stick to this phrase, a considerable amount of credibility can dwell in an absurd story. However, that didn't cause the importance of what Kyrie had said to waver. This was different from stealthily raising a kitten in a cardboard box and keeping it a secret from your parents. Taking care of a person in secret over a period of 30 years would be an
Yeah.
incalculably massive mistake. That one got me.
After all, Father's legend of the gold started before he gained possession of Rokenjima. That'd mean his relationship with his mistress was over 30 years long. Bye, Adam.
Bye-bye.
How old would that make her? In the worst case, she could be as old as us or older, right? By that age, the body starts to break down. I don't care what the mansion's like. I wouldn't use the word agreeable to describe living in a place where people's eyes can't reach, almost like she was under house arrest.
That's right. If what Father told us about Beatrice is true, then that relationship has lasted for over 30 years. She might have been a charming young woman at the time, but it probably makes sense to assume she's an old bag like us now. I can easily imagine that, given the contents of that letter.
You should talk.
Oh my god.
Kraus laughed as if none of this applied to him. Crow's feet have an ass. Of course, Ava was offended, but she didn't strike back. Quit it, Anarchy. So, if everyone's thinking what we're thinking is true, then she should be joining in on Dad's inheritance problem with her head held high. After all, there's a good chance their love was mutual, unlike with Mom. Even though she knows she's his mistress, she might also be proud to be his true wife.
That is an insult to Mother.
Oh my god, Nazi, shut up.
She's not even on screen. Mother is not real.
Mother's dead.
She doesn't have a character portrait.
Yeah.
Not real.
Sorry. However, everyone knows that it was a political marriage decided on by elders amongst his relatives. Because of that, it definitely wouldn't be strange for Dad to have a mistress.
The family sank after the great...
Oh wait, it says father.
Oh,
Ah,
the family sunk. The great Kanto earthquake, and father was set up as the Ushinomi family against his will. Treated okay, who is this? They say father and Kinzo, what the fuck?
it's not me.
In the beginning, the elder relative treated Kenzo like a dummy and influenced him powerfully, almost like he was a puppet. He wasn't permitted to decide anything by himself, not even his marriage partner. Ever since he met that golden witch Beatrice in those distant days, Kenzo's legend of the gold was quickly embellished into something dramatic. In other words, it could mean that Kenzo really did find a woman he loved. If she also knew the whole story, even if they weren't marriage partners, it wouldn't have been odd for her to consider herself his true wife inside her heart. And now the person registered as his true wife was already dead.
Which means she might feel confident staking her claim, not just for the rights to his assets, but regarding the battle over the headship too. I see. I'm starting to see the purpose of this letter. The headship goes to the one who solves the riddle of the epitaph. Is that what it means?
Even if that mistress was added into the family ranking system, she isn't a direct relative of father, so she'd be inferior even to the children. In other words, she'd be one step below Rosa in rank. That wouldn't be a good position to enter the battle for the headship from.
I see. So that's it. If someone can solve the witch's riddle, they'll get the headship regardless of rank. In other words, it's the most advantageous condition Beatrice could possibly get, since she's got no chance otherwise.
Oh my god.
Damn. I think some work's being done outside
Yeah.
or something.
The revival of the Ushinomiya family was made possible by the gold Beatrice had bestowed. That was quite a distinguishing service she had provided. She had built the wealth together with Kinzo, so it was natural that she would think of herself as the one who should inherit it. It would also be natural for her to despise the thought of giving it up to the children of the wife Kinzo never loved.
How could she be so impudent? Even if such a mistress actually exists, joining in on the battle for the rights to the head's inheritance would be a reckless action far above her place. What disregard for her own position.
Natsuhi turned red, her fist quivering. She had also come into the Ushinomiya register due to complicated circumstances. Those who knew that understood more or less why she was so angry for the sake of Kinzo's dead wife.
Well, thanks to that reckless action of hers, we all have an even chance now, right? Father has even given it his silent approval. Will the person who succeeds the Ushinomiya...
I apologize. I had a bogey. It was bothering me. I had to.
That's awesome.
It's just fucking Rudolph.
No fucking mute the mic or anything. It's so funny.
Holy shit. Okay. Will the person who succeeds the Ushinomiya family be his mistress Beatrice or one of us, the relatives he doesn't love? Maybe he wants to make us struggle over that to see who's worthy. Hot mic, Rudolph. Hot mic.
Wow. Yeah, hot mic. Hot mic.
As Ava giggled roguishly, Kraus shrugged his shoulders and looked away.
Sorry, I got the giggles now. However, since she's the one who brought this rule to light in the first place, maybe that means it gives her a significant advantage.
That's right. In the first place, if Beatrice meant that letter literally, then she's father's alchemist. In other words, she's the manager of his gold. It wouldn't be strange at all if she knew where it was hidden, would it? Isn't that harsh? It's like she's giving us a riddle she knows the answer to. She'll probably show up rudely, say, "Hey, there's the answer. I'll take the headship now," and snatch everything away from us.
That's right. The person who brings the riddle always knows the answer. There's a good chance that this is all a trap to steal everything from us.
If you think about it like that, don't you start to doubt whether she really had any gold in the first place? Why would she tell us about it? All she has to do is keep quiet and embezzle it.
Dude, Jamie's our DJ. Some
Oh, yeah.
type of suspicion.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Up next, we got Suspicion from the UMINEKO OST.
Are you doing Spotify DJ?
Yeah. Yeah. I'm glad
All
you
right.
immediately knew.
Let's change it up.
We're gonna be starting off with some of your favorites.
So fire.
It really is strange. That certainly was the case. If the epitaph showed the way to the hidden gold, why would she challenge them to try and solve it? If they actually did solve it, wouldn't the gold all be stolen from her? Could it be that this person was trying to stir the siblings up so they'd solve the epitaph, and then plan to steal it away at the last second? It was an extremely logical possibility.
No. If you spin the chessboard around, there might be
Hey,
a pretty
been a
good chance. There might be a pretty good chance that they actually do have the gold. Why are you so certain?
Wait, Anarchy, please keep talking. What do you think of that?
After all, do they really think we'll let go of the Ushinomiya family headship just because someone tells us the answer to the riddle in the witch's epitaph? That we'll be so impressed by their answer that we'll just give up?
Well, that's true. No way they're so naive that they assumed we just give up after being told the answer to a riddle. That we just say, here you go, and hand it over.
Of course. The headship of the Ushinomiya family is not something that can be handed over so easily. That's it exactly. No matter how Beatrice might one-sidedly propose a game like this, even if she were to spectacularly show us the answer, there's no way we'd obediently hand over the headship. In other words, unless she has a compelling force in the form of challenging us to a game with equal conditions for us all, this won't truly count as a game.
You're right. Unless the losers have no choice but to give up on the headship. Because of a compelling force, this won't really count as a game.
And what might this compelling force be? Would they bind us in chains and threaten us into handing over the headship?
I see. I get it. They'd just have to do something to make us want to give up the headship willingly. Yes, I see. To do that, Beatrice would have to own 10 tons of gold.
I see. I get it too. In other words, it's a trade.
Huh? What do you mean? A trade? Trade what? The Ushinomiya family headship for the hidden gold. Beatrice surely plans to tell us the location of the 10 tons of gold, and use that as a bribe to gain the Ushinomiya family headship. Ridiculous! They want to trade the headship of the glorious Ushinomiya family for money? That's blasphemy! Blasphemy against the Ushinomiya family!
Nobody cares.
Please listen without getting mad. About how much wealth does this glorious Ushinomiya family have right now? Are we really that affluent? The definition of affluence is not dependent on property. It is about heart. Our financial
no, it's
situation is nothing to...
Number one Ushinomiya glazer.
Kraus is like, shut the fuck up.
Kraus interrupted Natsu here. She started to go on and on emotionally like a woman.
Oh my god. Renove is just like, oh.
Silence, bitch wife.
In this situation, the more
she went on like that, the worse it would actually
Hey,
sound.
hey, whoa!
Whoa, spouse.
You what? You guys forget we hired a voice double? He's shown up before.
Yeah, instead of Renove, it's Wanove.
Well, no, Me aside, I hear your current situations are quite unfavorable.
Oh, really? I've heard that your financial situation's really bad too. Offering up more and more as collateral for new money to gamble with. Repeatedly dabbling in new gambles, and unable to accept your losses. If we count what's going on behind the scenes, you're in even bigger financial straits than the rest of us. Just how much money have you lost, Nissan? You have no talent. Who are you saying has no talent? And what do you
She
mean
just
financial
said.
straits?
Natsuhi became indignant once more, but Kraus raised his hand again and interrupted her.
It seems you're making a small mistake. Business is not something that can be judged based on current progress alone. For someone with a long-term outlook on business, such as myself, it may sometimes appear at a glance that I've suffered significant short-term losses.
The copium.
Yeah, big
Anarchy.
ol' huff.
We've been collecting evidence. Your position right now isn't one to be proud of. So, this is what Kyrie's trying to say. Every one of us has got money trouble. And Beatrice has 10 tons of gold.
As the only person who knows the location of the 10 tons of gold, Beatrice is planning on using it to force us to sell the headship. About how much is 10 tons of gold worth? At a rough estimate, let's say 2 billion yen? No, 20 billion yen. With that much piled up, we'd be ecstatic to accept her as a successor.
That's a lot of monies.
Nah, it's not that much, bro.
That's a lot of fucking monies.
Scene returned to silence. In fact, the rain and wind felt even noisier now. It was probably the sound of the windstorm racing through the insides of their mind.
Funny how Rosa has just been kind of silent the entire time.
Well, it's because Ava keeps dogging on her whenever she talks.
Yeah, bro.
This isn't funny. To think we'd give up the headship to some woman of doubtful origin, just because she had a little money stored up.
I literally have that much money lying.
Don't be stupid. The headship wasn't even yours in the first place, right? We've got nothing to lose and money to gain. We'll have to calculate our profit and loss, but it's something worth listening to.
They all knew that Kraus had eaten up much of the Oshiromiya family's assets. So it was dregs that remained of that inheritance versus the cost of being accepted as the head that Beatrice would pay. It was a shame, but honestly the former was less exciting than the latter. Well, probably wouldn't end up as 4 equal portions, since Anaki would be giving up his position of successor. His portion would have to be larger. Makes me feel kind of jealous, you know?
Dear, the amount of money isn't the problem, right? Your cowardly younger siblings are trying to sell the glory of the Ushinomiya family for money, don't you see? Why aren't you displaying your dignity as the oldest son?
Natsuhi, stay quiet for a while.
Dear?
This is a dizzying proposal. We were each planning on getting 250 million yen out of Anaki. If the witch treats us with 10% of those 10 tons...
That's 2 billion.
Yeah. That means she's treating us with 10 times our original goal. That alone would be more than enough for us. It's not like I've got any attachment to the Oshiromiyan name. I'd be happy to sell it off.
Even if 10 tons is a slightly optimistic figure, yes, it'd still be a fascinating prospect for us. We were trying to form an alliance among the siblings to kick out this outsider called Beatrice out. But if this is her plan, it'll tear apart the unity between us. Yeah, by this point we could state it clearly. The goal of Beatrice's letter was to disturb our alliance.
Oh my god, a shocking revelation.
What the fuck?
I do like
Fuck you guys.
the character detail with Rudolph, how like he was doing business with Americans and his business sense is very American.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's like, yeah, just sell it. I'm like, damn, he really did learn how to do business in America. Yeah, sell that
King.
shit.
Yeah, so
Well, yeah, because you also see Kraus like being punished for like making his investments like too loyal to the family, and then he just loses the money.
Yep.
Yeah, and long term, he's going to diamond hands, man.
Yeah, right.
Kraus has been on r/Wall Street bets.
Because I think when they talked about like his investment strategies, they described him as like being very afraid all the time, like being too afraid of losing money that he wouldn't like gamble with with the tenacity required.
Yeah, he
To make
never
money.
took any risks. Yeah.
file.
If the 3 younger siblings, who had never had anything to do with the inheritance but paid enough money to satisfy them, they would happily accept Beatrice as the next head. A moat had been dug all around Kraus. In that case, the negotiations would be one-on-one between her and Kraus. He tried to look strong, but Kraus's financial and political situation was extremely weak. He might bluff in front of his siblings, but on the inside he was considering entering negotiations, depending on the sum of money involved. In order to bury his losses, Kraus had taken advantage of the fact that Kinzo had shut himself up in his room and had embezzled Kinzo's personal assets. Therefore, when Kinzo died and the inheritance was distributed, Kraus's situation would probably be investigated. But if he gave up his seat as the head to Beatrice, she would also receive the rights to the assets, and as a result, the distribution of the inheritance to the siblings would not occur. In other words, Kraus's embezzlement might not have to be made known to the other siblings. I love they're all trying to find their own way to weasel in.
Yeah.
Of course, the siblings were frightened of Kinzo, but it was doubtful whether they still actually respected him as a father. By this time, they had each their own families, their own wealth, and their own lives. If they were paid enough money in exchange for Rokkenjima, the wreckage of Kinzo's dreams, there was a significant likelihood that they'd relinquish the Oshiromiya family name. In other words, Beatrice's victory was already guaranteed in this game. Not as the winner of Beatrice's game, but as the winner of Kinzo's game. Kinzo once ordered that the epitaph be put on display, and until today, no one had solved it. So Beatrice solved it. In other words, this is less of a game and more like Beatrice's declaration of victory. However, Kyrie still thought there might be a catch. If this was a declaration of victory, Beatrice would only have had to display the gold openly at her intent to buy the inheritance. And yet she had gone to all this trouble of telling the siblings to try and solve the epitaph. Why did she set up this new game where she agreed to hand over all of the gold and the inheritance to the epitaph solver? Kyrie tried spinning the chessboard around several times. She searched for the sort of ideal strategy Beatrice might be after, something that could lead to this kind of thinking. In the end, she reached a single conclusion.
Could it be arrogance? Or maybe she's playing? What are you talking about? The witch sent us a letter of challenge, forcing us to try and solve the epitaph. She might be taking us lightly, thinking we could never solve it. However, at the very least, there ought to be an extremely small chance that we do solve it. After all, we have here 4 father's children by blood, right? The questioner called together 4 blood relatives who, if they tried to frantically work together and avoid having those assets stolen from them, might come across the answer of the riddle by chance.
The reason the witch had superior position in the negotiations compared to the siblings was only that she knew the location of the hidden gold. But if that hiding place was exposed to someone or other than her, the witch's advantage would crumble.
In short, Beatrice gains nothing but risk by writing this witch's letter of challenge. Of course, it might have had the effects of splitting apart the siblings' alliance, but if that was her only goal, why would she take this risk, however slight it might be? That seems reckless to me. But if we keep in mind a certain type of emotion, that risk becomes comprehensible. And you're saying it's arrogance? Yes, that's right. When people have an overwhelming advantage, they tend to get arrogant. And when they do, they want to show off that advantage to the losers, so they sometimes take on small risks. A moderate amount of risk adds a little spice to the joy of victory. It'd be boring to win without any risk. I understand. I like that kind of thing too. Yeah, I understand it well. I I thought of a few plausible explanations for the true motive behind Beatrice's letter, but I think this really might be the truth. The emotion hidden behind that letter was arrogance. Arrogance. She's trying to throw her weight around, looking down on us, as if there's no way we could figure out such a difficult epitaph. It might even be possible, if surprising, that the epitaph wasn't written by Father, but by her. Sounds great. Solve the riddle of the epitaph, she says. If only I solved it. I only made the head right. I'll solve it. I'll accept the witch's challenge. As if those other idiot siblings could solve it. I'll solve it by myself. Then I'll prove that I'm the one who's fit to succeed the Ushinomiya family. I'll take that challenge. I will solve the riddle.
Oh my god.
Then everyone goes,
I knew they were gonna do that after she said that.
I will solve the... Oh.
Oh my god. Holy fucking shit.
Holy fucking
No time
shit.
for Beatrice to murder her before she can.
Oh,
even
we're back
start.
in Purple World.
Oh. Ah!
This game loves to flashbang us.
Yeah. I see. So she's not a witch, but a mistress named Beatrice who lived on the island. So there can be more than 18 people! Which means I can defeat the line of reasoning that says any crime impossible for all 18 people must involve magic. That's a big scoop.
Hey.
Pardon me, Battler-sama. Would you like some back tea and cookies? Beatrice Butler, who called himself Renaud.
Where's the Scottish narrator?
Oh, true,
Oh,
we're
right.
in Purple World.
Oh yeah, I forgot. Beatrice Butler, who called himself Renaud, appeared out of nowhere. A plate set on a silver tray that he had held was filled with delicious-looking, steaming black tea and cookies.
Fishy aroma. That's the title of the song?
I guess so.
I suppose so.
Oh, okay. Battler. I really don't like this guy's smile. For some reason, it doesn't look like a smile used to warmly greet a guest. It feels like he's mocking me somehow. I don't know if he really takes me for an idiot, or if it's just a joke or something, but it's really irritating me. I don't need any. I'm busy now. Leave me alone.
Oh my, such a shame. And the cookies were so delicious too. Cooked so wonderfully, yet they would be wasted on a mere human.
I'll eat some when I feel like it. Just set it down somewhere and get out of here.
Will that be acceptable? Then I shall do so. You may eat them when they get cold and stale, and then regret to the fullest that you did not eat them while they were fresh.
You really are annoying. Well, you're a lot better than that Beato who keeps doing that creepy cackle right next to my ear.
Yes, that is quite true. There are times when Milady's laughter becomes quite undignified. Every time I hear it, I find it painful to comprehend. Why such a noble demon as myself must serve such a master.
Man, you're weird. If you don't like it, then couldn't you just not work for her?
And yet, to continue serving is furniture's joy. If we do not serve, we would hardly be furniture. Setting that aside, how has the game been proceeding? Just now, you seem to have found some useful information that quite pleased you. Well now, I wonder what your shallow wit has conjured up.
As Renove mocked me and giggled, he followed my earlier words literally and placed the black tea and cookies in a random spot nearby.
In any case, it appears you are now more confident in the existence of a 19th
doing
person
burnouts.
riding an ATV, yes? Would you be so gracious enough to allow me to hear your opinion?
Yeah, sure. I'm just going to say it again in front of Beato anyway. No reason to hide it. Basically, it looks like there's a hidden mansion somewhere on the island, and the grandfather had his mistress live in there. So the question that's been torturing me about whether there are 18 or 19 people can be easily resolved.
Damn, Renove. He's like,
You've driven
boring.
yourself. You've driven yourself into a corner because of the dead end that you yourself have created. Even though you deny the witch, Battler-sama, you hold the double standard and refuse to accept that the culprit is one of the 18.
The easiest way to deny the witch would be to suspect one of the 18. It isn't easy to gather alibis for every one of them. You always find at least one person with a fragile alibi. I could probably continue to deny the witch forever if I just used that person as a scapegoat. However, I refuse to do that! Oh, it's useless! It's all useless! Every one of those 18 people is either a parent, a relative, or a cousin to me! And those reliable servants who are sometimes serious and sometimes fun to be with, I won't let myself use any one of them as a scapegoat! In the past, my resolve wavered. That's how Beato hit me where my heart was weak.
Ah, accepting and understanding one's own weaknesses. It is not something that can often be accomplished. Battler-sama, you use this theory about a 19th person as a spear. Or, should I say, as a shield. In any event, in contrast to how unprepared you were in the previous games, the fact that you now have a compass bearing on how to fight is a dramatic leap forward, let us say. With this, you can suspect a 19th person and pursue your theory that the culprit is human, without having to doubt any of the 18 you love and respect.
That's it exactly. Like in the first game when Canon-kun was killed in the boiler room, there were plenty of tricks I could have mentioned without hesitation, as long as a 19th person existed. In the very first game, Canon-kun was killed in the boiler room. One might think he was attacked by Kumasawa-san, who had gone down into the boiler room with him. Or maybe that someone who had appeared to be dead earlier was actually faking and had ambushed him. Either way, it was a move that forced me to suspect one of the 18. However, by simply proposing that a 19th person existed, there was no longer any need to suspect one of the 18 for that murder in the boiler room. In short, I can at least deny the line of reasoning saying that if something is impossible for every one of the 18, therefore the culprit is a witch. Using this argument, it's easy to explain, for example, the problematic case that has already occurred in this game. Who gave Maria the letter? Even if all 18 people have alibis, I could easily explain everything by saying that a 19th person must have visited her and given her the letter.
I'd say that's quite a good move. Now, how would I strike back against it? You still have plenty of weak points, even if you are aware of them. Maybe the 18-person attack would be an effective move. To judge the strength of your defense, it may be amusing to contest that point again.
Then how will you do it, Demon Butler?
Uh-oh.
I believe it would be the appropriate ambush to the...
Sorry.
I believe it would be the appropriate to ambush the piece representing this 19th person that you mentioned, Battler-sama. You have never met this 19th person, yes? Would you please show some proof that this 19th person exists?
Alright, a new debate lord has entered the ring. How naive. Of course, I knew you'd probably try that move.
My, please respond to it.
Witches and demons and the like. There's no more fitting move for you guys to use. It's one of those devil's proofs! Oh! So dumb. When you try to make some claim to humans like us, we always counterattack by telling you to show some proof. Because that's a human move. But I'm fighting with a witch. I'm taking part in a battle with someone who isn't human. And some moves exist that can only be used in a game against a witch. There are cheap moves. And that's what this devil's proof is. Because it's impossible to prove. Let's assume that there's a hidden mansion on Rokenjima, separate from the Ushinomiya family mansion, and that a woman named Beatrice lives there. In order to prove this, one must find this mansion and actually bring Beatrice out of it. That's called actual proof in the human world. However, if we follow the rules of the devil's proof, you can't deny that she exists, even if there's no proof that she does. Because it's impossible to prove that something doesn't exist. That's right. I'm finally able to turn the tables using this devil's proof, which tormented me so much before. Those guys were always trying to force me to accept the existence of the witch with it. After all, it was physically impossible for me to show any proof that witches don't exist and deny Beato's claims. That's why I kept getting hit with the reckless argument that witches do exist, and was unable to counterattack.
Oh,
And that's why I'll spin the chessboard around right now!
no!
If I can disprove the existence of witches, then that means, if I suggest that a 19th human exists, you can't deny that either. In other words, because this problematic and mysterious mistress is craftily hiding herself, it'd be perfectly natural if you never found her, no matter how hard you looked. So you can't say that your inability to find this 19th person proves that she doesn't exist. Therefore, it's impossible to deny the 19th person's existence. Beato used this devil's proof to make denying her own existence impossible. But this time it's become my weapon. If we can get away with this argument, then forget just the 19th person. This island could be full of people we don't know about. And even if there were 10 or 100 of them, she still couldn't deny that they existed. In the last game and the one before that, among the murder scenes that showed up, there were several that were extremely intricate and must have taken a lot of effort to set up. It's really hard to imagine a single culprit setting up all of those. However, if not just the 19th person, but 10 or 100 people were hidden somewhere,
Oh my god, oh my
then
god.
that
Oh my,
I don't.
oh my
Okay,
god,
nice,
oh my
nice
god.
auto, dude. Nice
I'm
auto.
so sorry.
Is it that hard to just? I'm just kidding.
Alright.
Just start telling shitting on you, no. Okay, where was I? I don't know. However, if not just a 19th person, but 10 or 100 people were hidden somewhere, that wouldn't be any problem at all. If they all split up the work, they could handle any job in a short period of time. Of course, doubts will naturally arise as to whether a large group of people like that could sneak around the mansion without being noticed. But those are all settled by the devil's proof. You can't deny that even 100 people were there just because they weren't seen or noticed. Even though I'm saying it all myself, it's such a stupid argument that it makes me want to throw up! However, because it's such a dirty move, it's a perfect one to use against a witch. Well, this is just my imagination. But what if about 100 suspicious men wearing goat masks were hiding in the shadows? Something like that's worse than laughable, almost like they're cockroaches. If you see one, it means there's 100 more hiding somewhere. Well, I do think it's a ridiculous argument that's horribly twisted. If my opponent were human, I'm sure they'd yell at me like I was out of my mind. But my opponent is a witch. Meow.
Was that me? I think that was my...
No, I think that was us still. And after all, that's the kind of competition we're having, isn't it? I'll use any kind of reckless argument to explain it using humans and deny the witch. Anyway, with this move, I won't have to doubt any of the 18 who are close to me again.
Oh my fuck. Oh my fuck.
Thanks, bro. I won't suffer a defeat like last time again.
I see. You've learned from your previous defeat. That is good. It's no surprise that you've become so devious now that you're in your third game. Your first strength in your own defense. That is truly a solid first step. Quite a spectacular move, I would say.
Well, even if we do assume that there's a 19th person, there are still a few tricks left that I can't resolve, like the actual number of master keys, no matter how many humans I add. Still, it isn't bad as a first step, for the time being.
Badler-sama, your trump card is the important piece called the 19th person. You've countered my move of asking where the proof was by using the devil's proof. A good skirmish. Although, I must apologize for making a move by myself when Milady isn't here. I find that I am too growing slightly interested. I wonder if you will allow me to make yet another move on Milady's behalf.
Let's have it. I've got no shortage of opponents, be they witches or demons.
This move you presented called the Devil's Proof. It is a specialty of us demons, but there are also various other moves available to us. Do you know of a move called Hempel's Raven?
Hempel's Raven? What are you talking about? Oh boy. Just then, that enraging laugh I've heard so many times started echoing. The room was filled with dazzling golden butterflies, and in the center of that whirlwind, the Golden Witch appeared.
I was taking a shit!
A hot girl shit.
If it isn't Milady done after her morning shit. Good.
I thought you might be doing something interesting while I was away. Henpel's Raven, was it? Such a familiar old move, I could almost laugh. To think the day has come when I get to show it off to Battler. It's a classic move to use against a devil's proof. Renove, I will make this move. Do not get in the way of my fun.
So you've finally shown up, you guffawing witch. I see you're laughing like a freak just as usual. This guy was talking behind your back just now, telling me how undignified you look when you do that. Right?
How rude! Is that true?
Nonsense. Why would I speak such gossip about Milady, whom I regard with such sincere respect?
I can't believe you'd say something so shameless. Doesn't look like we'll be getting along well together.
Well, that is fine. Let us return to the point at hand. Hempel's Raven is used to show actual proof using the contrapositive. In other words, a move like this. What must you do to prove that ravens are black?
Huh? What are you talking about? Prove that ravens are black? Wouldn't you just have to catch a raven and check to see if it's black?
That's right. You must simply prove that a raven equals black. Do you see that? If you instead prove that birds aren't black equals not ravens, you could reach the same argument. If you go throughout the world and examine all birds that are not ravens and prove that none of them are black, then as a result, you can claim that, therefore, black birds are ravens.
Hold on, let me check if albino ravens exist. Albino.
Huge.
This is an
Raven.
argument. Oh, this is called an argument by the contrapositive. Is that
There
too
are
difficult
albino
for you?
ravens. She's a liar.
Huge. Well, I mean, she's just making an example. Yeah, no kidding. I've got no idea what you're saying.
Cookies!
Battler-sama, what about this example? Let us say that you have two boxes, and one of them is a winner, with a cookie inside.
It's really funny that he likes cookies so much because Shane likes Cookie Clicker a lot.
Cookies.
Cookie.
I like cookies a lot too.
Yeah, he a big ass cookie clicker.
I am. I've like prestiged Cookie Clicker
Holy
like
fuck.
I think 100 times now.
Oh my god.
I've pretty much almost filled out the entire prestige tree.
You're
I have,
crazy.
Like, 2 more.
He be clicking.
Of course, the other one is a loser and is empty, like losers, like you. Is it still me?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. For example, here are 2 boxes, where one has a cookie inside and means you win, while the other is empty and means you lose. At this moment, it has a cookie inside, which equals you win, which implies that you do not win if it did not have a cookie inside. When such a relationship exists, the latter is called the contrapositive. It's contradictory, contra, yes. When if A, then B is true, then, if not B, then not A is also true.
Dude, this brings me back. I had to take when I went to private school in middle school. I had to take a class named Logic, and it was literally all
I had
about
to take
this
Logic
shit.
too.
Yeah. Holy shit, it's bringing me back.
I mean, yeah, because that's like the type of classes that the debate club kids always take.
Yeah.
Because it's like the precursor to like philosophy, you know?
Yeah.
I legit for that class, that was the one thing I was pretty good at. I asked like midterms, I was like, so the final is just everything? Do you have the final? And they're like, yeah. I was like, can I take the final? And so I took the final. I got an 88.
Fire.
I got an 88 on the final in middle school on that from Logic. So they were like, oh, okay, you can just do media class then. So then I got to learn Photoshop.
Oh, yeah.
Yay!
They were, because I didn't have good grades, so they were making me take Logic. Because the people who had decent grades got to take media. But I just like basically just understood that class
So they're like,
Mhm.
all right, go learn Photoshop.
Oh,
Fire.
okay. Well, that's obvious. If the one you guessed was the loser, then you'd automatically know that the other one was the winner. In other words, if you choose the box at random, whether it's the winner or the loser, you'll be able to figure out which box has the cookie in it after your first move.
That is correct. If the cookie is in the box you open, then the devil's proof is satisfied. You can directly prove that this box is the winner equals this box with a cookie in it. However, if the box you open is empty, then the reverse, Hempel's Raven, is satisfied. In other words, this box does not have a cookie in it equals this box isn't the winner. And as long as we accept the premise that there are no more than 2 boxes, the contrapositive shows that the other box is automatically the winner.
Well, I think I'm starting to see your reasoning. Only poison can stop poison, and only twisted logic can stop twisted logic. Then what? How does that overturn my claim that because there's definitely a 19th human hidden on the island, even if all 18 have alibis, I still won't have to accept witches?
Very well. I will teach you about my move. First of all, you are stating that the culprit is not among the 18 equals the culprit is a 19th person. So, if you use the contrapositive, it ends up like this. In short, the culprit is not a 19th person equals the culprit is one of the 18.
Yeah, because basically, like, if she's saying that, you know, if he's using, like, a certain system of thought to determine that one thing is true, you can basically... This is like her version of spinning the chessboard. You can, like,
Yeah.
flip it and prove the opposite thing.
Yeah.
Huh? What do you mean?
Only that I've countered your move. Let's try and keep things simple. Renove, explain. It seems you made things easy enough for Battler to understand with your cookie in a box analogy.
Then, forgive my presumption, allow me to explain my earlier example once more. Allow me to repeat my earlier story about 2 treasure boxes, one of which has a cookie in it. In this situation, you have an 18-person box and a 19th-person box. So the cookie represents the culprit. Battler-sama, let's say you open the 18-person box. Because the cookie is not there, you've paradoxically proven that therefore the cookie is in the 19th-person box.
How many visual novels will have Schrodinger's cat in it?
All
How
of them
many visual
that-
novels?
Well, this isn't, like, the same thing as Schrodinger's cat, because, like, if anything, it's the opposite, because it's denying that multiple possibilities exist
Yeah.
based on your actions, because Schrodinger's cat is, like, regardless of what you do.
Well, it's
like,
the collapsing of Schrodinger's cat specifically.
I guess so, right? It's like the
certainty
aftermath?
becoming. So it's uncertainty, but then uncertainty becomes certainty, either in the positive or the negative.
Yeah, because Schrodinger is like, until you do something, you never know the answer. Whereas, like, this is like the aftermath, where it's like when you do something,
No,
like
this is
you-
opening the box and finding the dead cat.
Yeah,
is what this
basically.
is. Yeah.
Yeah, right. Like the second you make the choice to like actually like look, then one of the realities actually comes to be.
That lets us make an even more paradoxical claim. In other words, if it was first shown that the 19th person box was empty, it would prove that at the same time the cookie is in the 18th person box. The 18-person box, rather. Batter-sama played this move in order to avoid having to doubt any of the 18. But it's now been used to prepare an 18-person attack.
What the hell?
If I go first and prove that the inside of the 19th person box is empty, you will automatically have to accept that the cookie is in the 18-person box. All I've done is say it the other way around, yes?
So that move I was so confident in was actually a double-edged sword?
That's right. As soon as you played that move and attempted to explain everything with a 19th person, you'd already taken on a risk that you might be forced to accept that the culprit was one of the 18. Oh,
The official name of the Schrodinger's cat box is called the quantum superposition. Oh, okay.
Yes.
So that's what it's called when you apply it to like anything.
Well, yeah, it's a quantum superposition. It's quantum, therefore, because it has to be multiple things at once.
Yeah, because they're just talking about like that's what the type of question is called, right?
Yes.
Interesting.
I do like this because it has been the most effective of these stupid mystery games to include quantum theory and reasoning. And they're doing it very well.
Well, yeah, because they're applying it to something like that they themselves curated to work within that frame, you know. Whereas like this doesn't apply to like everything. There are some things in the real world you could apply it to, but you know, like since they structured it in such a way where like it fits naturally, you know, like it's not as annoying as it would normally be as a trope. Okay, this is Battler again, right?
Yep.
I see. Hempel's Raven. So this is a countering technique. Wait, if I really think about it, this counter is really disadvantageous for me. This isn't a cookie we're talking about. If I imagine that the loser treasure chest actually has a bomb in it, it gets even clearer. And there aren't just 2 treasure chests, but 18 plus 1 more for the 19th person. If you think of it as a total of 19 boxes, it gets even easier to picture. First off, one of the premises of the human culprit theory is that the bomb will definitely be in one of these boxes. I didn't want to place the bomb in the boxes for any of the 18, so I used the devil's proof. Wah, wah, wah. And created the 19th person box so I could throw the bomb in there. That much was fine, but then Beato struck back. Now if the contents of the 19th person box are empty, that'll automatically mean that the bomb's in one of the other 18 boxes. If I could examine what's inside all 18 of these boxes, then as long as I can show that the bomb isn't in any of them, I'll be able to safely show that the 18 are innocent. If that were possible, I'd have nothing to fear. However, in reality, that'll be almost absolutely impossible. The police wouldn't come here in this typhoon. We don't have access to scientific investigations or experts or anything. In short, we can't prove anything decisively. It'll be impossible for me to find any proof other than simply gulping down whatever alibis each of the 18 give.
Dude, if I hear any of you guys in the trial in Sugar Room call a devil's proof, I'm gonna kill you.
I mean, you know I'll do it if it is appropriate.
Oh, you know, if it's appropriate, we proofing ravens, we flipping chessboards.
Oh yeah, everything. Don't care. That means I personally have to prove their innocence, and I have to do it perfectly.
Johnny be like, this reminds me of a game.
Oh, darling, you simply must read UMINEKO. Like by staying with them the whole time, never letting them out of my sight for a second. By doing that, I could probably be sure of that person's innocence, sure that the bomb isn't in their box. However, in practical terms, that'll be impossible. In other words, I'd have to expend an incredible effort just to check the contents of one box. And there are 18 of them! In other words, unless I bound all 18 of them in chains and watch over them, it'll be impossible to prove that all of them have empty boxes. However, Beato only has to open one box, the 19th person box, and show that it's empty to prove that the bomb's in one of the other 18. Furthermore, there's no need for her to show which of the 18 boxes has the bomb. I've got 18 times more work to do to explain my pet theory than Beatrice does for hers.
Dude, the better drinking game for this game would be drink every time somebody says in other words.
Yeah, that's a big one. They say that a lot.
They do say that quite a bit.
That's why I was laughing while I was thinking that, and then it said it right after. Dude.
When a devil's proof exists in the world, it takes a vast amount of effort to argue against it, and there are other cases in which it is impossible to do because of the situation. However, Hempel's Raven turns that problem around and makes it possible to prove things easily.
By using Hempel's Raven, various reckless one moment, having a stroke.
What a cookie!
I'm honestly stupid, so their restating is useful for me.
Me.
No, like, now that we're deep into it and they're actually going, I'm liking the restating now.
Yeah.
It's just that they did it so much earlier when I was like, yes,
Yeah.
I heard you the
Well,
first
yeah,
time.
it's not that it's inherently bad. Like, I like when they apply it to stuff that's actually complex, but when they're just
Yeah.
like, they're restating simple information that we've already been given and not actually explaining something, it's annoying.
Yeah. Because in that case, you could just restate it with the when you're restating complex things.
Yeah, right?
And you'll just remember it and be like, oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
By using Hempel's Raven, various reckless arguments become fuck, hold on, one more time. Over the
Flips
top.
through his script.
By using Hempel's Raven, various reckless arguments become possible to prove true or false. For example, let us say I make the proposition, all humans, except me, are foolish. Normally, I would have to examine all of humanity except myself and show that they are all foolish. However, in reality, it would be impossible to investigate billions of people. It's just the same sort of effort you'll need to open all 18 boxes.
However, by using Hempel's Raven, the contrapositive of that proposition would change it into this. If you, to use your phrase, spin the chessboard around on the claim that all humans except me are foolish, you would have to do nothing more than prove that not foolish equals me.
Yeah, she literally said what I was talking about, that like this is basically her version of his thing, which I guess proves that they're learning from each other.
Yeah.
And what do you think that means? As soon as you know the fact that I am wise, I will be able to show in an instant that every one of the billions of people in the human race is foolish. In less than a second, I could finish proving that the entire human race is more foolish than me. It is truly the strongest and fastest QED in the world. This
What QD stands for?
Hempel's Raven. Google.
I feel like I should know what it is.
Sounds
QED
familiar.
meaning. Oh, quad era demonstratum, which means that which was to be demonstrated.
Oh, okay, I remember that now.
Ah,
Yeah, it's a Latin phrase.
Yeah.
quod era demonstratum.
Interesting. Okay, I had to open Google for that, so I gotta pull the game back up. There we go. What a ridiculous argument!
It is a very, very convenient move. Not only demons, but gods also use it. When they propose that the blessed are the servants of a god. The contrapositive is that a human is not a servant of God, means he must not be blessed. So in order to prove that the servants of our God are blessed with divine protection, they only have to bring ill fortune down upon those people who do not receive such protection. So, by bringing misfortune down upon those who don't believe in them, they prove their blessedness.
An enormous cost is required to give humans happiness. However, it takes a lot less to bring humans misfortune. So, by using Hempel's Raven, gods are actually giving believers the joy of divine protection for cheap.
You demon. It's a demon's argument. That's crazy!
It seems we've gone off topic. Let us get back to the point. The move for my counterattack is complete. And now, in response to your claim of the 19th person is the culprit, therefore, the 18 are innocent, the witch doesn't exist. I say, therefore, if I can prove that the culprit is not some 19th person, we can be sure that the culprit is either one of the 18 or a witch, right? Logic!
Wow. For a while, I just stood there, shocked, completely forgetting to close my mouth. Just when I thought I'd countered one of their strong points, their counterattack had been this reckless argument that I couldn't possibly have anticipated. Is this gonna be impossible after all? To continue denying the witch on an island with no more than 18 people? And still believe in the innocence of those 18 people? Is that just a delusion? Am I just trying to escape reality? Not yet. Don't give up this desperate struggle just yet. Who cares about whoever's Raven? They're just trying to confuse me by bringing up weird bits of trivia. I used the devil's proof. Don't feel uncertain about something you've used once. Believe in the spear you've drawn, and then forcefully gouge it in.
We're still in the opening part of the game. Do you plan to keep thinking on this level?
Wait a sec. I want to be sure. I'll admit, I talked about a 19th person to keep it simple. But if we're going to use the devil's proof to raise the number of people above 18, then we'd have no way of knowing if there were 10 people, 100 people, or an indeterminate number of people. There's always one more than you assume. Get it? They countered my twisted logic with something even more twisted. So the only thing that could counter that would be even crazier twisted logic, while I do burnouts. And then he fucking gets on his ATV.
True.
And he starts flexing on him.
That's so fire.
Yes, my grandson.
Whip that shit!
I see. Even if I somehow prove an alibi for the 19th person, as soon as I do, you will think up a 20th person and claim that they are the culprit. By repeating this endlessly, you would make it so I kept searching for their alibis for all eternity. I see. I see. Just like a demon king summoning a plague of locusts. I wouldn't expect anything less from Kinzo's grandchild. It looks like you have been gifted with a talent in summoning.
In short, it's impossible to always prove an alibi for each person X outside of the first 18. How do you like that, Beato? Now that I know we're having a battle with twisted logic, I won't lose!
How foolish. Who do you think I am? I am the Endless Witch. The thought that you could challenge me endlessly is just absurd. Endless control means that I am to be able to kill endlessly. When your 19th person folds, you will summon a 20th. And when your 20th person folds, you will summon a 21st. And when your 21st person folds and your 22nd person folds, you will summon a 23rd person, a 34th person, and a person!
Hold on, wait, can I count the numbers? How many numbers is that?
6 quadrillion? I think it's 64 quadrillion.
Yeah, I think it's quadrillion, so it's like
643 quadrillion, 582 trillion. I don't know. 235 something million. 796.
I'm pretty sure there's a website where it's like, how do you say this number?
A for effort.
All right. Do you think you'd have me at your mercy for all eternity? I laugh at infinite regress. The infinite doesn't work against me.
Oh.
Well then, how will you kill my endless? Just try and show me.
Oh.
She just murder him.
I have the power to speak the truth in red.
Bro forgot about the red. Here it comes.
When I speak in red, it will contain absolutely no illusions. If I say once in red that there are no more than 100 people on this island, you will no longer be permitted to create a 101st person. See, Battler? What truth shall I... oh my god! What truth shall I tell in red this time? Where shall I strike for the kill and force you into hopelessness? Come on, show me your usual frightened face.
Fuck you, Beatrice!
What? Why are you laughing?
I wonder what kind of creepy look I had on my face as I laughed right then. That red sure is scary. Every time it jumps out, I'm driven into the depths of hopelessness. The depths of hopelessness, literally. But I've already realized something. There's no need to be overly afraid of the red. You brought out your trump card again. So, how and for what will Beatrice-sama use the red this time?
Oh, what do you mean by that? Suddenly looking so relaxed.
Up next, we got Closed My Heart from the UMINEKO OST.
Let's change it up.
Sorry, But I was waiting for you to take out that blood-red treasured sword of yours. Let's see. What'll you proclaim in red this time? You aren't going to say the culprit was one of those 18 people, are you? Be careful, since that'd mean self-destruction for you, right? That'd be the same as throwing away your own witch theory yourself. A complete resignation. That's right. The red wasn't always a weapon that worked in Beato's favor alone. It was the other way around. If she used it the wrong way, it was dangerous enough that she could bring about her own death. If she used it carelessly and said something that ended up denying herself, that'd be exactly the same as self-destructing. Of course, it'd be sad and difficult for me to accept if you told me in red that one of the 18 was the culprit. No matter who the culprit actually was, I'd definitely have to deal with some tough emotions. But before that, it would mean your defeat! Saying in red that the culprit is a human is equivalent to your proclamation of resignation! If you wanted us to finish each other off in a simultaneous clash, I'd say that's a pretty interesting move. However, this particular battle will end in my victory! Beatrice's red was her true trump card. When that person speaks in red, it's definitely the truth, and no amount of proof or counter-arguments can change that. Until now, she's used that to severely wound me, and each time, the tiny foundation supporting my heart gets split in half. However, if she uses it carelessly, then I can also glean a little information about the truth. In the last game, I used that to my advantage, especially during the chapel's closed room trick, and almost completely got her boxed in at one point. But she was pretty sly herself. She learned from experience, and since then, she started using discretion in the timing of her red. The feeling of tension was almost literally like a battle with real swords. This is a high-level intellectual battle. No, not an intellectual battle. This really is twisted logic. This was the world's craziest and worst battle of twisted logic. Okay, now it's time to hear your plan. That's right, to use your Hempel's Raven. First, you'll have to confirm in red how many humans there are other than the 18. And after that, if you proclaim in red that none of the people in this group are the culprit. That's right, that might be a fatal wound to me.
I'm surprised that you no longer have even an atom of fear for the red, which once terrified you so much. You're quite resilient.
Try taking it out. That treasured sword, that trump card of yours. This time you might be able to make me surrender with a single stroke, right?
Interesting. I wouldn't have it any other way.
Dude, he's hella pussy checking her right now.
Yeah.
Agitate her. Challenge her. Drive her into a corner to make her speak in red. Of course, her red's always wiping out my only rays of hope. But don't be afraid of that. On this island overcome with falsehoods and illusions, the only thing I can trust is the information she speaks in red. It's my only way across the chasm of hell. Just a single tightrope. Her merciless blood-red blade is the only way I can survive. This isn't just walking on a tightrope. It's like literally walking on the edge of a blade. Of course I'm afraid. Because my victory condition is the denial of witches. Then, to use her contrapositive logic, the culprit must be human. But I didn't want to search for a culprit amid the 18. That's what made me stick to a weak position, since I had to claim both that it couldn't be a witch and that it couldn't be one of the 18. Last time I was unable to understand that, so that's where she hit me, leaving me tattered and defeated. But that's okay. Let her hit me. Let her attack. No problem. Someone said it once in an old sword fighting movie, that a good fortress has one, and only one, intentionally weak point. The enemy would gather there. They would be lured there.
Wow, thank you so much for following.
Thank you for the follow. Thank you.
Huh?
What?
What?
I don't know.
All right.
And that would be where the actual battle took place.
Are you blowing your nose again, Shane?
He might have been. That's kind of what it sounded like. As long as I understood my weak points, and as long as she wanted to attack those weak points, it was as if I was luring her into launching an attack.
Yeah, and as if I was luring her.
It was a
Hey, I'm literally baiting you out right now. I'm a masturbator.
Whoa. It's getting Umi freaky.
Gauge the distance between us with care, repeating step by step. Make them move forward. The more she recklessly flourished that red, the more chances I would get to strike back. Don't be afraid of the red. Keep her cornered, so that she'll have no choice but to refute me with the red. No matter how oppressively she speaks in red. That's right, that red itself is the same as fresh blood leaking from her wounds.
There's a lot of red in there.
So, what's wrong? First of all, why don't you tell me how many people are on this island total? If you don't, your raven can't cut me up.
How surprising that you can be this desperate and yet this difficult. One cannot make light of someone putting their life on the line, no matter what the era. It's no surprise you're Kinzo's grandchild. The more cornered you are, the bolder you become.
Renove cleared his throat.
It appears to be a stalemate. That black tea I worked so hard to make is getting cold, milady.
Renove, who was supposed to be her ally, roguishly rushed into her, making her next move. Beato probably thought she'd manage to smile back and appear confident, but she couldn't hide the sweat building up on her forehead. By now, she had completely lost the confident feeling that had allowed her to turn her nose up at her worthless opponent. Of course, she probably wouldn't be cornered by something like this. She's just being cautious. Until now, I've been inexperienced. I didn't know how to fight, and I wasn't strong enough to be her opponent. However, now that we've reached the third game, she's realized that I'm starting to become more skilled, and she's grown more cautious, thinking every move over carefully. Sure, that's just fine, Beatrice. Sorry to keep you waiting. Are you happy now? Now it's starting to get interesting, huh?
Attila.
This isn't getting us anywhere. Then, should we get to the heart of the matter and go with the usual?
Oh, the usual, you say? Then by all means. If I don't hear you say that, I guess I just won't feel like starting.
Come on, bro. The first move was mine. Here I go, Beato.
Oh!
Repeat it! On this island, there are only 18 people! If I hear you say this in red, I'll have no choice but to suspect one of the 18. I won't be able to say a 19th person did it, so all doors will be closed to me. However, I believe the culprit definitely isn't one of the 18. There's no way any of those 18 could commit such brutal murders! I'll say it again. Repeat it! On this island, there are only 18 people.
I refuse. I won't say why.
Whew! Had avoided would have been the worst red for me. If she'd repeated that, I'd be faced with those two worst choices of accepting the witch or suspecting one of the 18. Just like last time all over again. But Beato hadn't proclaimed my ultimate and greatest weakness in red. She refused to repeat it, even though there was no reason for her not to strike, even though it was a weakness she should have been drooling at. She hadn't sliced me up with red by using that move, which should have been as good as forking a rook in the king. This was a big sign of my advantage. That's right. The culprit isn't one of the 18. I won't suspect anyone! And since the culprit isn't a witch either, it means a 19th person exists on this island. And that's you. A person who, mother's mistress of 30 years, has been secretly living in a hidden mansion in the forest for a long, long time. The human Beatrice! That's right. You aren't a witch or anything like it. You're just a human who's been living on this island in hiding for several decades.
Did you just call me the endless witch who has lived for over 1,000 years? A human.
For a while, Beatrice continued to laugh unpleasantly and gloatingly. Or maybe spitefully.
Wait, didn't the demon call her a human earlier too?
He did? He did?
You
So, I've been waiting for this. Are you ready? I'll keep going. Again, repeat it. There are 19 people or more on this island. Beatrice fell silent once again. She'd probably remain extremely cautious as long as confirming the number of humans on this island might give her some large advantage. Or disadvantage. The opposite of what I say. I'm getting too worked up. Depending on the situation. The red has already become a foothold for my counterattacks. Now that we know this, it makes the red very risky for the witch. But if she couldn't repeat this, her Hempel's Raven wouldn't be effective. To break my Devil's Proof, she would need to settle the existence a number of people outside the 18 in red. That's right. She couldn't break the existence of a 19th person unless she used red. I've closed Beato in, given her no chance but to speak in red. There really is a way to fight in this witch's game. It's okay to refuse. If you can't say it in red, that means there's a total of 18 plus X people on this island.
Oh no, no math.
That X is a pretty massive piece to lose on your first move, right? After all, from now on, all of the tricks that were impossible for the 18 can be explained with a human X who isn't in that group. This huge piece can break open all the rooms you said were closed because everyone had an alibi. It was just like how a chess bishop can cut a thin line through the enemy forces as long as there's a slight gap. It could only be effective used on squares of the same color, but it was very good at controlling territory on the board. It looked like Beato also noticed her current plight. She couldn't just let such an important piece go, especially this close to the beginning of the game. If she pulled out her red treasured sword, it wouldn't be that difficult to save herself from this. But Beato was completely aware that I was expecting it. She was afraid that a careless red truth might end up strangling her own neck. Because in the first place, a witch is something that ought to be denied in red. Believe. Don't doubt! Witches don't exist! Something like that couldn't exist in this world. They can only exist in the valleys between truths. They have a fragile existence, curled up in those cracks, frantically trying to protect themselves from the brutal winds of truth. And they can only barely exist like a mirage by surviving on falsehoods and illusions.
Battler trying to force one particular side of the quantum superposition by sheer force of no.
In other words, the red, which only witches can use, is the reality that might easily deny their very being. The more they brandish their red words, the more they begin to lose, bit by bit, that crack in truth inside which they can endure. That's why they don't want to use red words and carelessly lose that crack in truth, which is based on fuzzy information. Or illusions, in other words. That's because they understand that they're gradually being cornered. Of course, that bastard would never admit it. Because if she did, it'd be the same as admitting that she's something that can't exist in this world, like an imaginary number.
Ow!
Oh my god, are you okay?
I'm okay.
Don't be afraid.
This game
What?
is hitting so hard. I'm stimming off the charts here. I'm like,
No, dude,
Yes.
I'm super in character right now. This is fire. Battler's really cool.
Nah, the reason I said ow is because I was stimming too hard and hit my hand on my
That's what I
desk.
thought.
My bad.
Don't be afraid. Stay strong. I know that she's the one who's really been pierced to the bone. After all, her red treasured sword can't be used without a lot of preparation. What's wrong? I'll say it again. Repeat it! There are 19 people or more on this island!
I refuse.
At the end of Beato's worrying, she took a single deep breath and quietly announced her usual refusal. I thought she'd use it, but Beato refused to speak in red, even though it would cost her victory in the opening part of the game. He refused. Which means that from now on, I can create as many fictional character X's outside of the 18 as I want.
Do as you wish. I have refused to repeat what you have told me. Is that enough for now? The reason for my refusal is... No, I won't tell you yet. Anyway, you'll know soon enough.
Battler's so cool when he's not homophobic or misogynistic or incestuous. Nah, he's still cool when he's all those things. Real VN readers know the truth.
when was he homophobic?
I don't
I think like one time he was like, I was uncomfortable being touched closely by a guy.
Well, I mean, like, yeah, because.
How is that being homophobic?
I don't know.
It's not.
That's just being straight.
It's not.
Yeah, he's just a straight guy.
Still acting tough, I see.
Choosing not to use the red isn't the way of using it. You called it my red treasured sword. A pleasant metaphor. I will use it too. That's the name of my dildo I have in the drawer. A treasured
gross.
treasured sword is at its best when it is sheathed. In fact, there are times it can instill even more fear because it is sheathed.
Wait a minute. I found it! You're human! Witches could just make a dildo with magic! And then she gets fucking poofed out of existence. Owned. That's right. As I fight, I always have to keep in mind whether you might spin everything around with those red words. It's some pretty serious pressure. And there are also times when you make things pretty tough by refusing to repeat after me. Those times, I can't tell if you can't repeat because my guess was right, or if you're just misleading me and letting me flounder about. If you think of it that way, yeah. It's a sheathed, treasured sword.
So what? If I'm going to push you off a cliff anyway, best to let you climb a bit higher first. We have still barely begun. Much is left to come. I'll resign from this challenge. Go and get drunk on your faint victory for now. But only for now. Yeah, he won! Yay!
Huge!
UMINEKO, brought to you by Lovins.
Oh yeah.
Brought to
Now
you by Bad
compatible.
Dragon.
Works at distances so long, it's like it was magic.
now with butt plug connectivity.
Holy shit.
Practically speaking, the early part of the game ended with her being a sore loser. Even so, I couldn't relax my guard at all. That tension didn't fade one bit, until I was greeted by the sound of Renove's applause.
Oh my god. Applause?
Oh. Can you even hear that?
Nope.
No. Here, start talking, I got you.
Spectacular battler, Sama. Perhaps you have started this game with advantageous development.
I love.
See, chat, that's
let's,
teamwork.
Let's go fully.
Who knows? I still don't know whether I've taken a piece by my move, or whether she guided me into taking it. After all, knowing you probably know I'm being led into a trap, and that clapping is just you mocking me openly, right?
How could you think that? I'm innocently celebrating your ability, which has enabled you to take one shot at Milady, even though it is only the first round. In any event, Milady is a person who is quick to become arrogant. I believe that a little encouragement such as this can be good medicine every once in a while.
Oh god. Sorry.
You
sorry.
clicked.
I know. I'm sorry.
This butler of yours sure has a vicious tongue.
He does, doesn't he? Sometimes he ticks me off as well.
My. How incredibly rude of me. Well then, milady, Battler Sama, how would you like some more black tea? The game has still barely begun. Please allow me to prepare the tea and snacks needed to adorn this game. I ask that you continue your game without any reservation.
I will. Let's move forward. Now is when it really starts.
Very well. Let us advance the clock. Renove, black tea, please.
Certainly. How about a cookie?
I don't need one. Give it to Beelzebub to keep her happy. Remain silent for now.
While listening to the sound of the demon butler pouring tea, the witch closed her eyes slightly and fell silent. For some time she was deeply lost in thought, but eventually a roguish glint came into her eyes.
Very well. Why don't I inform you now as to why I refused to speak in red during that
She was like, I'm not gonna tell you. Actually, I'm gonna tell you.
Actually, I'm going to tell you right now, actually.
What? Bring it on. Show me what you've got.
Yes, that piece was really big enough that I'd hate to lose it. It may be hasty, but allow me to make my move. I won't use the red, but from here on, Rosa will explain on my behalf.
Hell yeah.
Listen,
You guys might want to stick around for this.
Oh boy, oh boy.
You guys might want to stick around for this one. I think after this next scene, it'd be good to call it.
Yeah, because I need to
Alrighty.
eat and shit before D&D tonight.
Of course, I think the same way. Rosa does too, right? Rosa?
sorry. Me too. I think that too.
What's wrong, Rosa-san? You've been really quiet for a while now. You feeling sick?
No,
All right, my brain. From the beginning, Rosa had never been one to cut in on the siblings' fights. But even so, she seemed unmotivated and had said almost nothing during the night's conference. This whole time, she had hung her head and appeared to be thinking of someone else.
You've been in a daze for a while now. Do you think you can protect the inheritance like that? You're also the mother of your child, so get a stronger hold on yourself.
I'm sorry.
Did you wake up really early in the morning? If you feel sick, you shouldn't overdo it.
The beds in our guest rooms have been prepared. How about, oh my god, Kenzo! Kenzo! Chill!
Beatrice will not harm me, for she respects my sick burnouts.
How about taking a rest? I will guide you.
I
No.
24-inch chrome on this piece.
I bet you can't even do donuts. Disinherited.
No, I'm fine, thank you.
Oh my god, sorry.
Oh my god?
I was reacting to something on the side.
What the fuck was that?
No, dude. Yeah, I saw a cat do something funny through the window
Oh.
outside.
What did he do?
He hella jumped at that shit,
Oh.
and he did like a crazy ass Mario wall kickoff.
Whoa! Fire.
I love how every neighborhood just has those cats that just hang around and
Yeah.
do stupid
Yeah.
shit.
Parkour cats.
Yeah. No, the ones here though they torture poor Chuck by like standing in places where he can't reach and just staring at him like.
Oh my god.
Chuck!
He gets so mad. What is it? Is there something you're worrying about?
No, not really.
Is that so? It feels like your mind has been elsewhere this whole time. I wonder if that has anything to do with what you've been talking about.
At those words, everyone stared at Rosa together. As if in response, Rosa's shoulders quivered. Apparently, Kyrie's guess hadn't been wrong. Rosa couldn't deny it either.
No,
She swallowed whatever it was she had been trying to say, and went silent again. Of course, the other siblings also began to realize that something about her appearance was different from usual. What is it? You've been weird for a while. Did you think of something?
We all just swore to remain united, didn't we? Don't hold back by worrying yourself. We said we'd talk. Rosa, tell us.
The men pressed one after the other, and Rosa confessed. Confessed
I think I know what's
resignedly
about to-
and nervously.
I think I know what's about to happen.
What do you mean you know what's about to happen?
Well, I mean, listen. I know that Golden Fantasia exists, so I know some spoilers in terms of characters that exist. So that's all I'm saying.
Anyway. Engie.
The atmosphere had made it seem as though she was confessing to some modest prank, which had inadvertently brought about a serious situation.
no, this mistress of grandfather's, this Beatrice. I was wondering if she's still alive.
Huh? Isn't it obvious that she's alive? After all, she was able to send that letter to us.
Whether she's in good health or not is a different story, though. The woman in that portrait must be getting up there in age by now.
I'd say she's healthy. People who are crafty when it comes to money stay healthy no matter how old they get. Her evil plan might even be the best rejuvenating agent.
She shouldn't be alive. Huh? What did you just say? Beatrice is dead. I killed her.
What did you say?
What do you mean, Rosa? But it wasn't really me who killed her, though I did bring her to a place like that. No, I did kill her after all. I tried to make myself believe it was a dream, but it wasn't really a dream, was it? Which makes this a letter from Beatrice's ghost. Ah!
It was so sudden that everyone was lost for words. Rosa kept on talking, unable to stop, holding her head as her hair flew about.
Calm yourself, Rosa-san.
I have absolutely no clue what's going on. Already dead. What do you mean?
I think it means two things. First, its literal meaning, and second, it backs up our earlier guess.
Which means Rosa has met with Beatrice, right?
I've never heard Rosa mention anything like this. Rosa, when was it? When could you possibly have met Beatrice? Long ago. Long ago. We just moved over to the island and I was still young. It wasn't my fault. It's not like I killed her. Ah!
Calm down. Nobody's blaming you for anything, right? First, drink some water, okay? Natsu-san, the pitcher, please.
Drink some Baja Blast, dude. Chill out.
Yes. Here you go, Rosa-san. Please calm yourself.
With the refreshing tropical taste of the hot blast.
Oh yeah.
Until Rosa was able to calm her ragged breathing, no one was able to speak a word. Wait, so are we ending there? Oh, no flashback.
Oh wow, they're actually gonna show it to us? I didn't think they would do that.
Isn't that the
So
place
that's
in
what
the
that
title?
was.
Yeah. Isn't that the place in the title screen, guys?
This is okay, yes, this is what I thought. This is what I thought. It was not Beatrice, it was fucking her in this flashback, wasn't it? I thought something was fucking up. I was like, this cannot be Beatrice. There's just no way. This is the island. I fucking knew it. I knew it.
Beatrice, I've been calling you for some time now. Did you not hear me?
Oh, I get it. This is the secret mansion, I think.
Yeah.
Where are you? My apologies. I was lost in thought. Forgive me.
Sorry, I'm my brain is like, I'm having
No, there's a lot of comprehending to do right now. A lot of pieces just fit together at once. Because I'm assuming that talking to the white-haired Beatrice, I'm assuming that was like little Rosa. I'm guessing.
The weather is pleasant, yes. I can understand how the weather has stolen your heart. Will you have your black tea here?
Who am I?
I will bring some tea now. Wait here for a while.
Forget about the tea. Talk with me.
Very well. Yes, this is just third person, I'm guessing. Okay. Kinzo had used the excuse of getting black... Oh, wait, no, there's a flashback. Kinzo had used the excuse of getting black tea to try and interrupt the conversation for the time being. But his attempt had been very transparent. Oh, no, this is someone else.
Oh. I sat in the garden chair and beckoned Kinzo to do the same. Kinzo sat down heavily, exaggerating his age. For a while, we sat and appreciated the silence. Who am I? Until today, no one has answered this question. For some reason, everyone averts their gaze and evades me. have known you for a long time. I think of you as my best friend, even as a father.
Oh, that's weird. That makes this weird.
That is why I want so much for you to tell me. You should know who I am.
Why are you worried about something like that? You are Beatrice, the master of this mansion. Is that not so? What more could you want to know?
I do not know.
What's this? Don't you even understand what it is you want to know? How mysterious. In one's youth, there are times. One wants to play in the maze of thought that has no exit. Perhaps that's what your worries are.
Kinzo laughed and thought it was a trivial matter. However, I couldn't help but feel that this behavior was another attempt to force me to stop any further questioning. So you won't tell me, after all?
There's nothing to tell. You're Beatrice. Isn't that more than enough?
No, that's not it. What I wish to know is not my name. I want to know who I am. Who am I? What am I? How long have I been here? And how long will I have to continue my days here?
I really should bring some black tea. Don't you think a waste of all this fine weather?
Gaslight gatekeep green drink. Oh, he gets to see? What's this all about? It looks like it's probably the story of your past, right?
Something like that. To think I would go this far back.
Looks like you had some pretty deep worries even then. Wondering who you were?
That is to be expected. At the time, I was unable to understand who I was, or why I was alive.
Well, in puberty, everyone's captured by those philosophical worries at least once, wondering what meaning there is in their life. Doesn't this just prove you had a charming period like that at one point? He considers that charming?
I've been in that mansion since the time of my birth, and I lived only inside the mansion. Of course, I went out into the garden, but the area around the mansion was surrounded by a
Sorry, I figured out the mystery.
She'd been there since the time of her birth.
Okay.
I'm sorry, I'm so sorry. Am I interrupting everything, or can I give my theory?
Are you also thinking Fight Club for Rosa?
No. Because
Sort of.
when I think I was wrong earlier. It wasn't Rosa in the flashback. It was young Beatrice. But the lady that she was talking to, the much older lady who was Kinzo's age with gray hair, she was Beatrice. Beatrice is just a girl. She thinks she's a witch, but she's not. I think she's actually a human who just thinks that she is a witch because she's actually the daughter of Kinzo and the real Beatrice. And he wants to try and preserve her by basically grooming her into Beatrice. That's the only way all the pieces fit together.
That's a good theory, though.
I don't know. To me, that explanation would solve everything. But that's just me.
Of course, I went out into the garden, but the area around the mansion was surrounded by a very tall fence. I wasn't able to leave through it, and I was told severely that I mustn't leave. I could walk freely throughout the mansion and the garden, but outside of that, not once was my desire to take just one step outside of my own accord granted.
What do you mean by that? Are you trying to say that as far back as you can remember, you were always a bird in a cage?
That's what I thought at the time. After all, as soon as I became aware I was living like that, I didn't even think to question it.
Who in the world are you?
That's it. That is what I also hope to know.
I'm sure you'll say something like, I wasn't a human, I was a witch, right?
No, that's not true. That isn't true yet. Or should I say that was once the case. I was constructed by Kinzo, a human built by a human. No, perhaps I should call it a cage made of flesh.
What the hell? This is getting weird.
You probably won't believe it anyway, but listen first. I was a mighty witch who lived for 1,000 years. But at one point I was summoned by Kinzo, and by that hidden art, I was bound as his prisoner for eternity.
Never heard that before. From what we hear in the Ushidomiya family, you were summoned by grandfather, made something like a devil's contract with him, and gave him the gold.
Indeed, that is correct. Then I was supposed to vanish until the contract was complete. But, well, popular women have it rough. By some turn of events, Kinzo fell in love with me.
Grandfather's nearsightedness must have gotten pretty bad. With astigmatism, too. To fall in love with you, of all things.
You better shut up. You gotta eat your
Nah,
fucking
hate
words.
justified. She killed his family.
He's gonna eat his fucking words later. Anyway.
Hate justified.
Well, to me, there could be nothing more bothersome. However, the power of humans is a frightening thing. He displayed that fearsome power and rooted me to this place. He said I wouldn't be freed until I nodded my head in agreement. Such an overbearing man.
Isn't that awesome? Everyone knew grandfather was obsessed with the occult, but who would have guessed he had the power to root down the great witch Beatrice? Ridiculous. Who'd believe such a weird story?
As I thought, you don't believe.
All I believe is the fact that you lived in this hidden mansion in the middle of the forest. You are the 19th person on Rokenjima, right?
Indeed. Just as you imagine, this is deep within the forest of Rokenjima, a hidden mansion not to be found from the outside world. Its name is Kuadorian, 9 Birds Retreat.
Come to think of it, I heard the guest house's real name was Torayanana. That's fire. Hold on, guys, we gotta do what we always do. I gotta look up how the word is pronounced.
Torian?
Torayan? Hold on, I'm googling to make sure.
I'm thinking in a Japanese mindset. Torayan.
We're gonna find out together, chat. We're getting it. We're getting it.
What are we getting?
McDonald's?
McDonald's!
Oh, I actually don't. I don't even know. I actually can't
crap!
get the.
I just saw that Sipatia said he was done with art. Sipatia, if you're still there, show it to me. Show it!
Post that shit.
Post that shit!
Okay,
I want to
well,
see.
I can't find the actual pronunciation, so I don't want to waste time. I see. The naming sense is similar. So, you were grandfather's mistress who lived here in secret. Isn't that right?
Mistress isn't the right way to say it. You could probably call it Kinzo's unrequited love. I spoke of it just now, correct? He fell in love with me of his own accord. Then he courted me, but I rejected him. Then I was shut up in this hidden mansion. No, that's not quite right. It would be more correct to say that I was shut up in this body.
I've got no idea what you said at the end there.
You will just make fun of it and refuse to listen, right? After all, you say you don't believe in witches or magic. If you have no ears to hear what I tell you, saying it would be the pinnacle of foolishness.
Well, I guess, yeah, it's more like she was a human who became a witch somehow, but she still got groomed into Beatrice. I'm holding on to that. I'll decide whether I believe or not. After all, if I don't ask, the story won't continue. Tell me, let's hear this story from your past.
Very well. I refused Kinzo when he courted me, but he was not a man to lose heart at something like that. He wanted to make me nod my head in agreement no matter what. He shut me up in this mansion and spent an eternity trying to win my heart.
Talk about overbearing. Guess no one likes obstinate men, huh?
Regardless of whether I responded to his courting or not, having a man so desperate for me was, well, as a woman it wasn't so unpleasant. However, I never accepted his proposal. I tried to find some way to break through his guard, but that barrier was firm, and I couldn't crack it.
And then?
After trying to resist in various ways, I eventually reached the conclusion that, to escape from Kinzo's barrier, I would have to throw away this body of flesh. The physical body is a vessel with many restrictions for a magic user.
Throw away your body of flesh. What does that mean? Something like an out-of-body experience?
Well, if you want to think of it that way. However, I am no spirit. Even though I am a witch in the beginning, I was born with a human's body of flesh. So for me, throwing away that physical body, while it didn't mean the same thing as death, it did require a similar level of resolve.
So in other words, you decided that you couldn't be released except by suicide. Is that it?
It wasn't suicide. It was nothing more than throwing away my body of flesh. Of course, becoming nothing more than a soul is a precarious situation. When the soul leaves its body of flesh, it is constantly exposed to the strong winds of the sun. It was not easy for me to maintain myself and avoid being scattered by them. It was a final measure that I wanted to avoid if I could. However, there was no other way to break through Kinzo's barrier. Anyway, I am an unfettered person. I couldn't stand being kept in a cage until Kinzo's life was over.
I couldn't see this stuff Beato kept going on about throwing away her body of flesh as anything more than suicide. Grandfather persistently courted her, and to escape from that, she chose her own death. So you're saying you committed suicide? What are you talking about? Isn't that you, sitting carefree there in the garden chair?
That's right. This is the new cage I was given by Kinzo.
Cage? You mean this mansion?
No, I mean my body relaxing in the garden chair over there. Even though I was so desperate to escape that I became naught but a soul, Kinzo still had no intention of letting me go. Oh, he was a fearsome person. Normally, when the object of one's unrequited love shows that she is willing to die, it should be enough to bring that person to their senses, even if their love has lasted 100 years. Perhaps that's why even he managed to become a sorcerer of sorts.
Okay. I think I was sort of right. I think after old Beatrice killed herself, I think that he magicked her soul into the other girl, I think. Don't try to confuse me with that incomprehensible witch girl talk. What exactly are you trying to say?
Oh, I just looked at Sepetia's art. I love it. I love it so much. Thank you so much.
Super fire.
I love the music notes. That sounds it looks really, really good. I love how conceptual it is. Makes my heart happy.
Thank you. Ugh.
Oh.
That Kinzo didn't let me escape even after I became a soul. Human emotions are terrifying. To think you would be able to exhibit such power. Tying down a dead soul is not something that can be accomplished easily, not even for a magician who specializes in such matters. Because I knew this, Kinzo's fearful magical power shocked me for the first time. Then, Kinzo seized my soul and brought me back. However, a cage to hold a seized soul cannot be made from iron or lead. Only one thing remained.
What? You weren't gonna say it was a magical cage or something, are you?
What if I can't read music?
Lol.
I can't even do that.
Wrong. It's that body of flesh over there, just like yours or mine. Only a cage made up of flesh and blood can tie a soul down to this world. Kinzo shut my soul up in a cage of flesh built to be exactly like me.
Dude, just because I'm a singer doesn't mean I have to read music.
Owned. Super owned.
I can't read music either. I've been meaning to practice. I need to.
If you're a musician, if you play an instrument, yes, you have to read music.
I bought a ukulele. It's
I can read ukulele tabs. It's not actual music on it or notes on a music sheet.
So to sum it up, it's like this. Grandfather obstinately courted you, you started to hate it, and you committed suicide. But you weren't clever enough to finish the job? Damn, you really took a roundabout way to say something like that.
No, that's wrong. My soul was shut up in the seed of a homunculus, and I was born out of a test tube.
I knew it. I knew he made some kind of fake body. Huh? But that's crazy. That isn't even possible, right?
Kinzo accomplished even the miracle of creating life, and simply to shut my soul up in that cage. That he would show such magical power simply because of his own love. A thoroughly terrifying person.
It's already gotten pretty ridiculous. Say whatever you want. I won't believe anything. Just do what you like.
What's with this unpleasant attitude?
In the beginning, I showed a little interest, thinking that there might be some huge hint hidden here. But the more I ask, the weirder this story starts to get. I get the feeling that even though this is supposed to be a game about denying witches, I'm suddenly being forced to just swallow this story about witches. Sorry, but I don't feel like listening to this anymore. Just keep rambling on to yourself as much as you want. I'll be over here, picking at my earwax or something. Oh, she's hurt!
Yeah, bro.
I think that hurt her feelings.
Yeah.
When I started acting cold, Beatos seemed unusually discouraged. Of course, her expression was still shameless, but in that really easy-to-understand expression of hers, I had the feeling I was able to catch a glimpse of loneliness in my failure to find the story of her past interesting. For some reason, that subtle reaction made her seem pitiful, so even though I kept my careless attitude, I decided to cover for her slightly. Damn it, even though she's an irritating witch, I'm still weak against her because her chromosomes are XX. Bro is chronically weak to bitches. Well, I've got absolutely no desire to believe you, but keep going. Let's have a bit of a story instead of a tea snack.
So you treat the story of my past like little more than a snack. Do you expect me just to casually tell you when you insult me like that?
After I made fun of her, Beato reacted a little sensitively. It looked like even though making fun of people was her specialty, she was horrible at being made fun of by others. Just then, my black teacup suddenly made a sound, surprising me.
Milady's soul was seized and breathed into a cage of new life. In other words, Milady received life as a human once more.
Before I realized it, the demon
yeah.
butler had taken my cup and was adding more tea. Sorry. Were you saying something?
No, he was saying the narration.
Okay, I got. Oh, okay. I got really worried I interrupted
I
him.
got confuzzled. No worries.
Yeah, I finished what I said and I was like, oh, did I interrupt?
Enough of that. This person just said it was too ridiculous to be worth listening to. Well, he is too ridiculous to be worth talking to.
I'm baking some new cookies right now. Until they're ready, I thought you might find the story of Milady's past to be a perfect substitute for a snack.
Didn't I say that's enough talking about me? Such unpleasant people, the lot of you. I'm leaving. Renove, serve our food and then go. No pointless chit-chat with Battler.
Certainly. I will make an effort.
Beato's short temper, peculiar to women, which I didn't really understand, took hold of her, and she turned her body into gold butterflies, scattered and disappeared. After that, only Renove and the scent of the black tea were left. I feel kind of bad, like I pissed her off or something.
As long as you're aware of it, I need say nothing more.
Wait a sec, weren't you the one who struck the finishing blow?
What did you mean by that? How would you like some sugar and milk?
Just milk will be fine, and some tea snacks would be nice too.
Well, it'll be a bit longer before the cookies are ready.
Didn't you say we've already got something to use in place of a snack?
Certainly.
Ownage! Super ownage! What the fuck?
What?
Dude, I thought he wouldn't, like, since she didn't want to tell him, I thought he wouldn't.
Dude,
But he doesn't give a fuck.
Barely
He doesn't give a fuck.
Yeah, I guess because he's a powerful demon, he can kind of do what he wants at times.
Yeah, well, I also think his role might not just be to, like, serve her. I think he's also, like, kind of the mediator for the game, I think.
Possibly, yeah. Certainly. If you will listen quietly, I will continue the story.
Oh, yeah. She said something about a homunculus. I know a bit about that. It's that thing, right? A manufactured human created with alchemy or something?
Yes. Milady's soul was shut up in a homunculus, and she was revived into this world, receiving life again as a baby. However, because she was a baby, any professions of love Kinzo's part would have been quite useless.
Yes, thank you, Adam. That's why I had Ken him as the narrator for the game board.
Oh, right.
Well, I think it's very funny to imagine, like, they're playing the game and watching things play out, and he's, like, narrating it to them, like, standing behind them. That's funny. But I don't think that's what's actually happening, but I like the idea. That's funny.
Bye, Sebatia. Good night.
Goodbye.
I will sing again one day.
You aren't saying that grandfather shut the baby up in this hidden mansion until it grew to reach the same age she'd been? Yeah.
Correct. That is what I am saying. However, while her soul was the same, a human spirit is strongly influenced by its container. Milady lost all her memories of the past and grew up as a very normal human girl.
And you're saying that that's the Beato sitting in the garden chair?
Yes, that is correct. It grew to be completely identical, however, it did not possess her powers, which Milady was completely human.
Beato, who was sitting in the garden chair, looking up at the sky, voiced that same question again. She asked who she was. The meaning of those words was finally starting to click. She couldn't understand why she was living here all locked up. Grandfather had seized Beatrice's soul, shut it up in a body of flesh, and then shut that up in a hidden mansion. However, since she had lived here since the time of her birth, she couldn't even understand who she was, or why she lived shut up in there. Wait. Who would take such a stupid story seriously? Why don't I change my interpretation? In other words, couldn't it be something like this? Grandfather met Beatrice. He then fell in love with her and courted her, but she didn't accept him. Then he flew into a rage and shut her up inside this hidden mansion. Beatrice tried to escape, but no matter what I did, the text kept going without me. She couldn't succeed. So she finally chose her own death. And then... no. Maybe there was a girl who looked just like Beatrice. No, a baby. Grandfather raised this child with care, but maybe he didn't view this child as his daughter. The soul was once again shut up in a cage of flesh. Those words probably meant that he didn't view this kid as her child, but as her reincarnation. Maybe that's what it meant. If you interpret it that way, even a story this weird might make a little sense. No. This might be some bullshit Beato cooked up to confuse me. As if I could accept any of this. In the first place, Kuadorian, was it? There's no proof whatsoever that a hidden mansion actually existed. Couldn't this be something she just fabricated on the spot?
Oh, okay. All right.
I'm just going to go ahead and whip it out for her. A hidden mansion called Kuadorian does exist in the forest of Rokkenjima. That is the place we were just talking about.
Okay, Jimmy, have fun lurking.
Thank you for the lyric, bruh. Red? Renove used the red to say that Kuadorian actually existed. Did that mean the same thing as the red Beato used?
I may not look it, but I am a demon. Please, keep this a secret from Milady, yes?
Sure. Beato, who knew I would try to trip her up, had grown extremely cautious when using red. To think that Renove could also use the red. However, it was the red of a crafty man. I didn't know how far I could accept it, but anyway, I might be able to get some kind of hint out of it. So that Beato relaxing in the garden of Kuadorian, and that conversation she had with grandfather, were the truth.
Yes, it is the truth. In the past, the pair actually had a conversation like that in this place.
Thanks a lot. I'll ask for some more red. You said she was born from a homunculus, but does that kind of unscientific magical thing actually exist?
I am unable to answer that question. After all, doing so would cause a stalemate.
A stalemate? What does that mean?
It is a chess term referring to a state in which, similar to a perpetual check, any further progress in a game becomes impossible. This would be the opposite of an endless repetition of moves, because all moves would disappear and it would be brought about a kind of deadlock. In chess, this would lead to a draw, just as perpetual check would. However, there can be no draws in the game between you and Milady. Therefore, I am unable to answer a question that would bring about a stalemate.
You obviously want to confuse me by saying incomprehensible stuff. But simply put, you're trying to dodge the question, because you can't use the red to say something magical like a homunculus exists, right?
If I were to say in red, a witch exists, what would you do, Battlesome?
Whether or not I believe that is what our whole fight's about, right? If I was told that point blank, it'd be game over.
If I said a witch exists in red, you would have no room for argument. However, since the reason you would never have been made clear to you, Battler-sama, you probably wouldn't accept it. However, after being told that in red, you would have no room for argument and would not have been able to show any proof. In this situation, even though you wouldn't be able to admit defeat, you would have no way to make a counter-argument, and it would become a deadlock. Even though the checkmate would not have been reached, there would be no existing moves left.
Right, because he can't make an argument, but he still hasn't willingly agreed.
Yeah. Since you would not be able to play your next hand, it would never become Milady's turn, and the game would stop there for all eternity. As a result, Milady would be unable to force you to submit. That would be a deadlock situation. In order to avoid that, I am unable to answer the question of this nature in red.
So to say it quickly, you're saying point-blank questions are prohibited. Well, that's true, I guess. If I were told a witch exists, I'd have to give up from the start.
I am pleased that you understand. I believe we might be able to work together if you ask your questions in a different form.
Can you help me with that line Beatrice dodged when I told her to repeat it? About the number of people on this island.
If Milady held back on repeating it, then of course I cannot respond as Milady's furniture. I am unable to be too forward.
Renove made an exaggerated gesture, trying to act like a loyal retainer. This guy's so shameless. Just when I thought you might actually be useful. I'll give up on that and search for a different question. That's right. I was forgetting to check something important. This is a story about Beato's memories, right? When did it happen? It couldn't be happening right now, right?
Correct. This is the world of 1967. The world of 19 years previous.
And that is what, conveniently right before he was born? Let's try rearranging this story again.
Oh, true.
I wonder if it couldn't be something like this. Grandfather fell in unrequited love with a person called Beatrice. Then, he confined her in this hidden mansion and continued to court her. But she was stubborn and didn't give in. Eventually, she grew pessimistic about being able to escape from here, and probably committed suicide. And then, her soul was put in a homunculus, and... No, if I accept that, it's the same as accepting the witch. I can interpret that part like this. She probably had a posthumous daughter. Grandfather must have believed that her soul had been placed in a new physical body, and might have thought that the child was the reincarnation of Beatrice. That means at least 19 years ago, Beato existed on this island as the 19th person.
Bum, 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 bum.
I'm starting to get confused. Either way, we can't do more than speculate. The only thing we can say for sure, in red, is that in 1967, in a hidden mansion on Rokenjima, Beatrice existed as a human. That's all.
That is correct. In 1967, in a hidden mansion on Rokenjima, Beatrice-sama existed as a human.
Oh, thank you. That really helps.
Congratulations. With this, you've made clear the existence of a piece known as the 19th person, a 19th human for you to blame, just as you longed for. A sacrificial sheep upon which you can shift the blame of any crime. How amusing that it happens to be Milady.
Yeah, I mean, because he wanted to blame her the whole time, but he couldn't. He didn't know if Beatrice, the individual, existed at all. But now he can prove that, which means he can just say, "You're a human. You did it."
Mm-hmm.
Renove laughed indiscreetly. Somehow, I didn't like how he put that, so I didn't feel like laughing along with him. That's right. There's that thing Aunt Rosa said. Beatrice is dead. I killed her. What did that mean?
Okay, so I wonder if Renove has a vested interest in this because he would be free if she was disproven as a witch.
Maybe.
Is there
Even
anything? Is there anything in the rules that would like lend to that happening?
Well, okay, so the whole thing about this is whether magic exists or not.
Yep.
Magic exists or not.
Uh-huh.
Renove, I suppose, is a demon. His magic works differently or he exists differently. Wouldn't care about that. But if the certainty and uncertainty, if the quantum superposition hinged on Beatrice having powers or not, if she didn't have powers, then he wouldn't be her furniture?
Yeah, well,
that?
I mean, she did say that, like, because this lends back to my whole thing of, like, you know, the witch's power, like, comes from belief, right? We've been told that a lot, which
exactly.
I think lends to my theory of she might not actually be a witch. It's just that she became one because she believed that she was, because she has the same soul.
Gotcha. I'm trying to figure out why he's being so helpful.
Well, he
But
said
anyway.
outwardly that he was entertained, but that could be true. Like, she, you know, if Battler proves to her that she's not a witch, and then she believes that, she would probably lose her powers, right?
Yeah, well, that's sort of what I was thinking. Anyway, as for that, it may be faster to see the actual circumstances rather than listening to me tell you. Let's advance the clock a little more.
Renove pulled a stylish pocket watch from his pocket and touched the stem.
Oh, what
Okay.
the what?
Nice auto. Nope, this one. As soon as he did, I saw gold butterflies gather behind his back and take the form of a person. Was it Beato? I quickly realized that it was someone else. It was her. That oldest sister of the 7 stakes, who loved tormenting me more than her 3 meals a day. If I don't consider myself lucky to see that sexy ass, I won't be able to keep up with her torture game.
Renove-sama, you're still here. This is an urgent call from Beatrice-sama.
My, what kind of urgent business could it be? It seems my chat with Battler-sama had run a tad long.
No chit-chat, starts chit-chatting.
Yeah.
Well then, Battler-sama, if you will excuse me, please continue to enjoy your game with Milady.
Yeah, I'll enjoy it as best I can. Because my conversations go a lot more smoothly when they're with you as opposed to her. And you're more gracious with the red, too. Come and talk to me again anytime you like.
Battler-sama, despite how I look, I am Milady's furniture. I can do nothing that Milady does not desire. What I said in red was something that normally should have come from Milady's mouth. I did nothing more than announce the red truth in Milady's place, as she sulked.
Oh, that's kind of cute, because that implies that she still wanted him to know, but she didn't want to tell him anymore.
Yeah, because he didn't care.
So she really was sulking then. Seeing me and Renove incomprehensibly hitting it off, that steak Nachan cocked her head curiously.
Renove-sama, we are keeping Beatrice-sama waiting. Let us hurry.
Yes, I shall go immediately. Well, Battler-sama, I will see you later. It appears that we have finally started getting along.
as I thought. I had the feeling we'd managed to become good friends.
Sure, if you mean partners at gossiping behind Beato's back.
Renove-sama!
Onage!
Yes, yes, if you will excuse me.
Maybe she didn't like seeing him act so friendly with me, or maybe she really had been told to hurry. When the steak Nachon let out a thunderous cry, Renove laughed frivolously and disappeared, as if running away.
Wow! Okay, I think that'd be a good place to end it.
Yeah.
Unfortunately.
Yeah, I'm hungry, very hungry.
Renove!
One of the 72 great demons works for a master in exchange for various forms of compensation. Oh, so he's being paid. He's not a slave. He's being paid.
Yeah, I guess so.
currently
He's
has
being
a contract.
compensated in some way.
He currently has a contract with Beatrice as a butler, head furniture. He has become proficient at housekeeping after a servant in many households. His ability as a butler is very high in the high society of witches. Enjoying him has become a kind of status symbol. Furthermore, the cookies he bakes are superb, and witches will often form a line demanding them. He must possess tremendous magical power, but since he always stays out of the spotlight to further boost his master's reputation, his combat capabilities are unknown.
Yeah, buddy. Yeah, buddy.
Interesting.
Well, I've been waiting for this kind of, because I've really been waiting for them to get to the actual question of, like, who the fuck is Beatrice really? Because, like, the whole time she's kind of just been portrayed as, like, more of an idea.
Yeah, so not quite, like, fully on her side. He's kind of, but isn't. He's kind of like the Dooku to her Palpatine, you know?
Sort of, yeah. Because he's got his own motives, I think.
Yeah.
Before we leave, I want to show you guys something cool because they have tips for all the episodes. So you can go here and basically kill people and bring them back to life. If you do this to Beatrice, it gives you a special thing.
That's funny.
Yeah, she's like, what the fuck? You can't kill me.
Fire your bullets!
So cringe is what you are.
Yeah. Yeah. Next time we'll know the full truth on Beatrice's backstory with Rosa, so I'm excited about that. How did she die?
Oh yeah.
Ooh.
Oh my god, oh my god, oh my god.
Alrighty, y'all. I'll see all of you tomorrow for Ace Attorney. That's gonna be really fun.
Nice.
Nice. Yeah. Okay, everybody. Have a good night, okay? Goodbye.
Bye.
Bye.